Grand Order Alliance, we have a lot of lists here and a lot of strong players in these lists. So I'm going to start out then going to our first one, and that is going to be Martin Bird. So Martin has brought with us, he says, just trying to bring up his slides and everything because he's totally in control. Okay, so here's Fire Slayers. You know what? I don't even need the slide information here because I play Fire Slayers myself. So he has gone with Lofnir, which means that his Magmadroth units get +2 wounds to the Magmadroth units. And also he can choose up to 3 mount traits if he so wished. His grand strategy, as you expect for a lot of Fire Slayers, is Masters of the Forge. Essentially meaning he needs to have an invocation on the board at the end of the match. In this instance, he's got a Runefather on Magmadroth with the mount trait of the Flame Scale Youngblood, which means that when he does a Stomp monstrous action, he actually adds 3 to the wounds output of that one. He has an Auric Runesmiter on Magmadroth as his general. He's gone with the command trait of Master Priest. We all know what that means. He has a Forge Key with it, Volatile Brazier, which is essentially he gets to re-roll invocation rolls and also gets to double the range when it first comes out. He has the mount trait of Coldheart Ancient, which is a -1 damage on attacks that come into this unit, and he has a Heal Prayer, which is answer value of 3, 12-inch range, heals D3 wounds to a unit. He then also has a Doomseeker. Now the Doomseeker is on this side of the on the leaders section because it's not a leader, but we couldn't fit it in because on the battle line side he has an Auric Runeson on Magmadroth running in with the mount trait of Lava Tongue Adult, which means that basically when he uses his Fire Stream shooting attack, always counts as 5 as a minimum. He then also has the hand carved Nullstone icon because no wizards in Fire Slayers. How dare they even have a wizard in there? He has 10 Volkites with Blade Sling Shields, 5 Auric Hearthguard, a further 10 Volkites with Sling Shields, and then 2 sets of Berserkers, each with Poleaxes. He didn't actually go in any core battalions on this one, but he does have a Morton Infernoth, 2k on the nose, and without any core battalions, 10 drop, and sitting in at 7379. So, your thoughts on this one, Russ? What are your thoughts with this army?
It's Fire Slayers, so it's pretty solid army.
Yep.
Not particularly anywhere in the meta at the moment. But I think he'll do quite well with it. But I do like the Axe Half-Guard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that adds something to the army, and big monsters always do well, right? There's not really a lot to say about it. I'm not the most competent of Fire Slayers list breakdown, but it seems like a strong list that will do pretty well.
Yeah,
nothing stands out, but
no, exactly. Like you said, the for Berserkers, 2 units of 5 with the Poleaxes. Essentially, the Poleaxes mean that 6s hit do 2 mortal wounds in addition to the damage they normally do. So you really have to vary that up against the Board Axe option. But in this one, the one thing that catches me on this a little bit is this MSU approach on this one. And the 2 units of 5 Auric Hearthguard. Now, personally myself, I don't really put any value into them. They are pretty much the only shooting unit of the Fire Slayers. They do 2 shots each, 4s, 3s, -1 for 1 damage, I think it is. And then if they do a 6 to wound, I think it also halves the movement capability of that.
6 is to hit.
6 is to hit, is it?
Take an inch off of movement.
Take an inch, so even less opportunity.
So if you get like 2 or 3 6s, you can
reduce it down.
You can quickly, yeah. Are they better against monsters still?
No, they're not. No, they lost that rule. And this is it. I can't. I've tried using them in the past. I had a unit of 10 of them, and they're just spurting out very little output for their points. I know that they have reduced down in the past. I think ultimately, this individual, he's got 3 Magmadroths on the board, so there's nothing to be shunned at. He's got 2 units of the Volkites, which just help out and blend into the idea he can do a battle tactic where, as long as the Volkites are in combat, battle tactic achieved. The Berserkers have potential of doing the damage when they want. And the Doomseeker isn't anything to be snubbed at. Like this, basically, he's Oathbound. which means at the beginning of the battle he selects an enemy unit, and if he's in combat with them, he can fight again, and but he has to focus on that enemy unit. And if he does so, his ability of rune power is maximized because he's bound to destroy them. And rune power basically means that if he takes a wound, he adds 1 to his damage, and if he takes 2 or more wounds, he adds 2 to his damage. Now, with his Oathbound, it doesn't matter if he's taken any wounds or not, it goes straight to that +2 damage. So it has the potential to kind of kick out some stuff on there. Yeah, it's a different list. So I'm surprised to see what's in there. But I'm sure he's going to have fun with it. I don't know if you have any final thoughts before we move on to the next list.
No, it's just real solid list. I'm sure he'll do well with it. Will cause a few armies problems. It'll be interesting to see how Fire Slayers do, actually.
Yeah.
Haven't seen them about for a while.
No, and there aren't too many people who are running Fire Slayers in this one. There's actually only 2 people who are taking it. And you do see them kind of being the minority at times when they are taken. But at the same time, it's nice to see them out there. Yep. Martin, good luck. As we move on then, we have now got gone too far. Go back one, please, Mr. Go up. There we go. We've got Sid Razavi. I know Sid. He's a good bloke. He's run Fire Slayers quite a lot in his time. Actually, I think he's a Fire Slayer pure player. He's gone with the Greyfeared army. So basically that means that always for heroes get +1 wound. And he can choose up to 2 more artifacts. And then once again, he's gone with the Master of the Forge. And he's gone with the Inspired Triumph. So in this one, though, despite the idea he's gone with Greyfeared, he's running a Runefather or Magmadroth as his general, with the Blood of the Berserker, which essentially means that he can fight twice, once per battle. But if he does, the second time he does it, he fights last. He strikes last. He has the Axe of Grimnir, firm choice. I love it on my Runefather on foot. Basically, that is a +1 to his an extra rend and extra damage, which means he's rend 2 standard and 3 damage. No, 4. Yeah, 3 damage. Yeah, 3 damage when he's swinging with that. He's then got Coldheart Ancient, which is once again -1 damage coming in to that Magmadroth as the mount trait. He has a Rune Smiter on foot with the Runic Iron, once again Volatile Brazier, and then he's gone with the Prayer of Ash. Answer value of 4, 18-inch range, picks a friendly unit in range, and basically it's a -1 to wound against that unit. He then has a Battlesmith, bringing in an Obsidian Icon. Now, the Obsidian Icon provides a 12-inch bubble, 4+ spell ignore, which is fundamentally almost a necessity for Fire Slayers at this time. On top of that, the Battlesmith also provides a 12-inch aura with a 6+ ward save, and then once per battle, he can put down that battle stand, and it gives a 5+ ward for the battle round until your next hero phase. So it has lots of versatility on there. Also in there, because why not, there's a 4+ rally whilst within the 12-inch bubble of that Battlesmith as well. Also coming with the Ulrich Runesun, he's bought the hand-carved Nullstone icon as his Nullstone adornment. He then has 10 Hearthguard Berserkers with pole axes, 10 Hearthguard Berserkers with broad axes, 10 Volkites with sling shields. He then allies in 3 Aetherwings, and then he brings not 1 Grimwrath Berserker, no, that's not enough. He brings 3, with one of them with a draft of Magmalt Ale. Core battalions, Warlord and a Battle Regiment, and of course he's bought the Molten Inferno to ensure he gets grand strategy. Now this is a variant on the drops. We believe it's going to be a 6 drop, but at the time of this thing he was saying it was 4. Sitting in at 1960 points. What are your thoughts, Russell?
This one seems a lot more solid. I do like multiple Grimwraths. That it causes people issues when you've got single models running around the board that can potentially put out a lot of damage. Particularly is it with their they pick something at the start of the game, right?
No, with Berserkers, basically they had the chance to fight 2 times in the phase. Then once it's at the end of it, they roll dice on a 2+, they fight again. But if they die, they do get to fight again straight away. So that's the benefit that they get.
Yeah, they can cause people some real issues. Mm-hmm. They get Obsidian Icon, great artifact. Particularly into the meta with Seraphon, like looking really strong.
Yeah.
it's just going to cause a lot of people issues. It's really, for Rally, it's going to be really hard to remove pieces from the board. It's going to. I think this is going to be really strong. I think it could be a bit of an outsider, particularly on the missions where a lot of it's going to be sit on an objective.
Yeah.
They're going to be particularly hard to remove with that 4-up rally and the spell ignore.
Yeah, the other thing we need to just tell the viewers as well is like the Berserkers, so long as they're wholly within 9 inches of a hero, they actually get a 4-up ward. And 2 wounds apiece, that's a 5-up save standard 4-up ward. Now the broad axes don't do the mortal wounds. They do have a better stat line though. There's 3 3s, a -2 for 2 damage. I think it's minus, it might be -1. But either way, they do more potential standard damage as opposed to the pole axes. Interesting to see the 3 Aether Wings in there. I'm assuming that's probably for board movement.
There's one. You know the battle tactic for board edges.
Yeah.
Potentially that because there's no real movement in Fire Slayers, right? So a nice 12-inch move on an Aether Wing.
On the Aether Wings, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll help him grab the board edge free within different board edges. Battle tactic, I think. Yeah. Which is, if you can complete battle tactics, really good.
Absolutely, without a shadow of doubt. Yeah, of course. Sid, it looks strong, and you know I play a very similar list to you at times, so I hope you do well, mate. Good luck on this one. That's the end of the Fire Slayers. We now move on to the Cities of Sigmar. Now, am I right in saying this is the old book? Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. We don't allow the new stuff until it's had its full release. Yeah. And obviously FAQ. So this has only had its pre-release box. So similar to what we did with Seraphon earlier in the year, we won't allow it until it's had its full release.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Totally understand. So with this one, we have Ben Murphy. Now, apologies, I can see on the slide that it's missing at the bottom the Lord Castellan's artifact. I will explain what that is in a second. City of Sigmar, he's gone with Hallowheart, which basically means it's a 5+ spell ignore army-wide. And he also gets +1 to casting for Hallowheart Wizards, and they also get to know an extra spell. He's gone with Spellcasting Savant as the Antorian Locust General, keeping him alive. And then he's gone with the Inspired Triumph. In this one, then, he's got the Battle Mage as his general with the Shame of the Chilled Lands, meaning he gets to know all the Antorian spells. He's then gone with second spell of Roaming Wildfire. This is a casting value of 6 and 18-inch of range. And basically, he can choose an enemy unit and they suffer D3 mortals. And for each enemy unit within 6 inches of that unit, they also suffer further D3 mortal wounds. Pretty nice. In this option, he's chosen that his Battle Mage will come from Ghur. And he's gone with the Law of Whitefire. He's gone with the Seer Wounds as his first spell choice. This is a casting value of 6, 18-inch range, and basically it's a healing D6 wounds. He then has a Sorceress in here, in which he's gone with the... what's second spell first? So I'll always read it that way. Second spell he chose was Ignite Weapons. Casting value of 6, 18-inch range, selects a friendly unit, +1 to wound for that unit. Straightforward enough. He's also gone with the Elemental Cyclone, which is a casting value of 6, and the effect is essentially he picks one enemy unit within 12 inches of the caster, and for each model you roll a dice, and we're on a 4-up, they suffer a mortal wound. And then he's got the city roll of a General's Adjutant on that one. He's got a Celestial Hurricanum with Celestial. I'm sure there's probably a word missing off that one, so apologies there. He's then got a further Battle Mage. Oh, Celestial Battle Mage. Sorry, that's all one line. Apologies. He's then got his second spell is Crystal Aegis, which is casting value of 5, and the effect is essentially a +1 to the Eldritch Attunement, which is a spell ignore roll, if within 12 inches of the caster, so it's a 12-inch bubble, making essentially a 4-up spell ignore. He then has a Lord Castellant in here with the Arcane Tome. That's what's missing off there. Battle line, he's gone with 10 Bleak Swords, 20 Dark Shards, which are the honoured roll in this instance, 10 Dark Shards. He then has 5 Free Guild Outriders, and then he's allied in 4 Storm Drake Guard. Core battalions, he's got the Antorian Acolytes and a Battle Regiment, and he's also throwing in there the Umbral Spell Portal, Malevolent Maelstrom, coming in on a 3-drop at 1990. We didn't have a BCP ranking for him, unfortunately, but what's your thoughts on this one?
I quite like it. The Battle Mage is obviously going to give +2 run and charge to the Stormdrake Guard, I'm thinking. And they get the city's keyword for being coalition, so Ignite Weapons also works on them.
Nice.
So I think they're going to be the sort of the powerhouse of the list, and they'll bomb forward early. With their reroll charges and +2 to charge, it should be a pretty safe bet. They're going to go where they need. Some speed in there from the Outriders, a lot of spell protection power. It's again real solid list, bit of everything, and I think it's gonna do well again. So every time you do Stormdrake Guard, they can either do really well or flop. But yeah, we'll see with that one. But I think get a good list on the whole. Ability to do battle tactics, primary power. I think it's gonna do well.
Yeah, like there's a lot of love coming out from the viewers saying that Ben's a good bloke to play against, and actually just generally a good player in fall on this one. The idea the Freak Guild Outriders can also run and shoot or retreat and shoot if they so wish. And you've got that opportunity with the Sorceress with I believe you can sacrifice the Dark Shards if I remember correctly. Yeah, so there's the 4+ bodyguard rule as well in there. So yeah, it sounds like a good list to be going in against. Now, he's actually the only Cities of Sigmar army as well. So
not surprised it did go out of fashion, didn't it?
It did.
And with the new book, a lot of people are waiting for that, I think.
I think you're right, without a shadow of a doubt. It's nice to see them in here, though. And Ben, I hope you do well with them.
Good luck, Ben.
Yeah, good luck, Ben. Okay, Tom Marshall, our first Daughters of Cain army. He's coming in with Drakey Ganeth, which means that basically he gets +1 rend on the charge for Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter units. The grand strategy on this one is Bloodthirsty Zealots, which essentially means that all friendly units must have fought in the battle at least once. And then he's gone with the Indomitable Triumph. He's got the High Gladiatrix as one of his heroes. Blooddrake Medusa with the Mind Razor spell. Now the Mind Razor is casting value of 8 with an 18-inch range. He picks 1 friendly unit and improves the rend by 1 for their melee weapons. He then
also
has
damage if they charge.
And what, sorry?
It's also +1 damage if they charge.
+1 damage as well, nice. Hag Queen on Cauldron of Blood. He's got the artifact of the Crown of Woe. With this one, I believe it's the idea that enemy units cannot receive the rally or inspiring presence commands whilst they're within 9 inches of the bearer. And then in addition, if any models are slain by wounds caused by the bearer's attacks, you get to increase the range of this ability to 15 inches for the remainder of the battle. So it's pretty nice. Taking the Prayer of Confidant of the Iron Heart. This is an answer value of 3 with a 14-inch range. Pick 1 friendly unit, and they do not take battle shock tests until the next hero phase. He then has brought a second Cauldron of Blood, but this time with Slaughter Queen on it, being his general. He's gone with a Zealous Orator, which essentially is a 4-up rally across the army. Nice. He then has a Prayer Blessing of Cain on this one. Answer value of 3 with a 14-inch range. Gets to pick 1 friendly unit, and they get to re-roll the Fanatical Faith rolls until the next hero phase. Battle line here, 30 Witch Elves, 30 Witch Elves, 10 Witch Elves, 5 Doomfire Warlocks, and then 2 units of 5 Canary Heartrenders. Coming in with 2 battalions, throwing in the Heart of Fury Invocation as well. That's 2-drop. And 1950, and a global BCP ranking of 538. Now, Russell, I know you are obsessed with Daughters of Cain. What are your thoughts, sir?
I think it's an absolutely amazing list, personally. I think Daughters of Cain are probably the most underrated army at the minute. He'll score 5 battle tactics in the grand strat without your opponent being able to stop him. And at that point, he just concentrates on the primary, which he should be able to do pretty easy. Those Witch Elves are going to be insanity in this. I think they're going to have 91 attacks. It'll be 91 attacks, 2s and 2s, potentially -3, damage 2, with exploding 6s to hit.
Well, why not?
whatever he looks at is going to die with those. Also can run and charge. With the Slaughter Queen as well, they'll be fighting in the hero phase. 4-up rally from Zealous Orator. I mean, there's pretty much nothing there that isn't covered. I think it's a really great list.
Yeah,
Tom's a really lovely guy as well, really good player. I think this will do really well.
Yeah, you know what? When I was writing out these slides for the Daughters of the Kane one, I have to admit, I was reading this one. I've always had a fancy towards the army, but never really taken that next step to it. And I've never been one for the bow snake meta. Never really interested me in the slightest. But reading the rules and the abilities that this army list potentially has with the witch elves, which is my forte, I love the idea of just lots of women going psycho on the battlefield and everything. This really intrigued me. This actually got me really excited. I really want to try this out. And what are your thoughts on like the balance between the witch elves and then the snake variances? Do you have a preference or anything?
My personal preference is snakes because that was the first real army I got into in AOS and had. So I had the combat snakes way back when the book first dropped. They first came out the first time around.
Yeah.
So that's always been my sort of love there. So, but I don't think there's any real preference. I think both armies can do the same thing, and they score points really well, and they delete the unit they go into combat with. So there's no real they don't get held up on your plan. So I think both armies work similar in that way, and it's just personal preference onto which way you like to go.
Yeah.
I think this one has slightly more primary power, whereas the snake has a little bit more sticking power, with obviously Morathi not being able to be killed straight away.
Of course.
But yes, I think it's a toss up whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, this looks really good. And Tom, I just want to say good luck, sir. This looks like a really nice list. Moving on then, we then have Will Priest. He's bringing in Hagnar on the sub-faction, which means that you get to add 1 to the number of the current battle fan when determining the abilities gained from the table. They have this Daughters of the King have a table. And then the grand strategy Bloodthirsty Zealots, which once again means that they have to fall all at least once in the battle. In this instance, he has taken Morathi with the Mind Razor spell. He then has second Morathi naturally as part and parcel of it all. And then he has the Melusai Ironscale as his general with the Zealous Orator, so that's a 4-up rally across the army. And then the Crown of Woe, which we've already covered before, a very strong artifact. In this instance, he's taking the 15 Blood Sisters, 10 Witch Elves, 10 Bloodstalkers, and once again 2 units of Canary Heartrenders. Going in with a Battle Regiment, he also has launching the Soul Seeker as his endless spell. And he's a 1-drop at 1990. So slightly different from what we just saw there, Russ. What are your thoughts?
It's pretty similar to what I've been running recently and did really well with. I think it's sort of becoming the standard Daughters of Khaine build now. Morathi, you can't kill her in one, so she gives you so much value. 15 snakes with the Saurus FAQ as well. That the Crystal Touch now works instantly before models are removed, or even better. The big thing for this for me though is Hagnar, which does 2 things. It opens up an extra battle tactic to make you even more reliable.
Okay.
But mainly it puts your whole army 1 battle round ahead, so you become super efficient. I think that's what Daughters of Khaine do really well. Is you're just so efficient. Your whole army battle around 3s, 2s, and 2s, and you just real solid army.
Yeah.
My personal preference is not to take bow snakes, but they're fine. I just think it's a real solid army. Being 1-drop as well just makes it really solid.
Yeah, exactly. You like to see it, and the variants in the list as well, particularly Daughters of Khaine. They have a couple of builds from how I understand it. And in this instance, Morathi and the Blood Sisters, they will do work, right? No doubt. And crazy enough, I actually thought there were more. I was just quickly doing a check on my slides and everything. There's actually only 2 Daughters of Khaine armies. So it'll be interesting to see how they land and everything. But
it doesn't surprise me. Like I said, they're the most underrated army around, so people haven't quite caught on to them yet. I'm sure they will, but like 28, nothing to be sniffed at. Like they can max out victory points so easy on every battle plan. It's just madness.
No, you're right and everything, and it's like I said, it's tickled my fancy. I can certainly see potential there for myself. But Will, good luck, sir. We're now moving on to the Kharadron Overlords, and we come in with Brent Evans. Caldron Overlords, then, he is taking the Barak Urbaz sub-faction, which means he gets to pick one extra article, which he's done quite comfortably. The grand strategy, rule the skies, so at least one sky vessel has to be alive, and all monsters that have capability to fly have to be eliminated off the board. He's then gone with the Inspired Triumph. For his leaders, he has an Aether Chemist with the hand-carved Nullstone icon. He has the Aether Navigator with the Voidstone Orb, which you'll see coming up a couple of times. Archanaut Admiral as his general, as you would. And he's gone with the command strategy of X Grunstock, which means essentially the Thunderers and Gun Haulers become battle line. And then once per turn, the general can issue command to those units without spending a point. Now, we have to also take into consideration that Caldron Overlords get the code. We have to stick to the code on this one. In this instance, he's gone with Trust Your Guns, which means that once per turn in your shooting phase, you can re-roll one hit roll of 1 for an attack made by a friendly unit. The articles he's chosen, 2 of them he gets to choose 2. Honor is Everything, which is the 4-up rally for the army. And then Scepter of the Grudges, which means after deployment, but before the first battle round begins, you pick one enemy unit, and then you add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly carrier units that target that unit. And that is either shooting or combat, I do believe. Footnote as well, without our ships we are naught. Once per battle at the start of any phase, you can pick one friendly sky vessel. They can actually receive 2 command abilities instead of your normal 1. Going into his battle line then, he has got 15 Grunstock Thunderers, kitted out to the nines. He has got a unit of Archanaut Company, a second unit of Archanaut Company. He then has the Ironclad with the Great Engine Works of the Last Word, which means at the end of the enemy charge phase, you can pick one enemy unit that's finished within 3 inches of this unit, and basically you get to shoot them with your big cannon. And then this is the Admiral's flagship as well. And apologies, why not forget him? He also has Gotrek Gurnisson in there. Throw it in just because why not? He comes in on with a battle regiment and sitting in at 2-drop at 1980. He's a global BCP ranking of 690. So, Russ, I know you've tinkered with KO yourself. What are your thoughts?
First of all, Brent's missed the KO himself. I don't think I've ever seen him run anything else.
Oh,
so
okay.
If there's anyone that knows what they're doing with KO, it's Brent. I'd be really interested to see how Gotrek goes along with this. Personal preferences, I don't particularly like Gotrek, but I know Darren really raves about him lately.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's an absolute beat stick. He's really hard to kill unless you've got an army that can specifically kill him. So it'll be really, really good, interesting to see what he does with him. Standard, give the put the Thunderers in the Ironclad.
Yeah.
Teleport the Ironclad. Use Disembark, because that's why the double command the double command ability thing's in there, so you can teleport them, get them out, give them all the buffs, delete what you look at. There's not much you can say about it. It's a really, really, really solid KO list. The issues it might have is there's a lot of armies now that can score points without having to engage. But yeah, I think it's just going to do really well. Again, real solid list. Brent knows exactly what he's doing with KO. I think he's had some really good results this year as well. So yes, there's not much more I can say. No. Tactically spot on with the list. It's just going to work really well.
Yeah, absolutely. From the Gotrek front, I'm a fan. I love having him in my Fyreslayer army when I went to tournaments. And Gotrek is kind of like auto delete of monsters and elite units. He walks in, and unless you can really get those, you have to just mass attack him with damage 1 attacks just to potentially get out, and just overbear him with dice rolls. Because if not, like when I took him against, every time I take him against Nurgle, they've just gone home crying because he's just a devourer. He's our lethal machine.
Really good against Gotrek.
Go for it.
Daughters of Cain. Those witch elves with their 90 attacks and the combat snakes with their 60 attacks. Just he doesn't last long.
No, and that's just it. The mass spam of damage 1 attacks on him, and the weighted dice. You'll push through his wound count and everything. But it's nice. But like you said, it'd be interesting to see how he plays into the KO force here on this one. But like you said, Brent, You're a confident player. Dominic has said it in the chat as well that he's a great player. We hope you do well on this one. Definitely. Okay, we move on. We're now on to the second one with Peter Wagner. He's got sub-faction of Barracks on, which means he has a +1 to hit and wound rolls for melee weapons by Skyfarer units who have charged in the same turn. He's got the grand strategy of Order Sky, same as last time, and he's also gone with the Inspired Triumph. He has got an Archnaut Admiral as his general. He has the Stormcaller command trait, which means that while this general is on the battlefield, you can re-roll any dice rolled when the Navigator reads the winds. He then also has the Hand Carved Milestone icon. He's then actually brought Brock Grungson in as well as a second hero, and then he has the Navigator in with Voice Send Orb. No, we didn't actually say the Voice Send Orb does once per battle, I think it is. He can auto unbind an end spell that's on the battlefield.
It's a spell or end spell.
A spell or end spell.
You can auto unbind or auto dispel.
Auto dispel. Okay, cool. In this instance, for his stick to the code, he has got the following: prosecute wards of all haste, which essentially means that once per turn in your movement phase, you can choose one unit to run 2d6 as opposed to normal d6. Article settle the grudges. After deployment before the first battle round, pick one enemy unit. Like we said before, essentially you get +1 to wound against for attacks made by that against that unit by KO. And then the footnotes, there's no reward without risk. Once per battle, in your charge phase, you can attempt to charge with one friendly KO unit within 18 inches of the enemy, and basically they roll 3d6 instead of 2d6. Battle line wise, he's got Archnaut Company, 2 units of Sky Wardens, and 2 units of Engine Riggers. And then he comes in with the frigate, armed with the Skyhook. He has the great engine works of the Archnaut frigate. That's the one where he put Archnaut frigate, but I expect this is probably a different engine works. It doesn't exist. And he's the Admiral's flagship. And he actually then has a second frigate with a heavy Skyhook. 2 battle regiments, 2 drop as a consequence, 1980 with a global BCP ranking of 6524. What do you think, Russ? Russ? Oh, we've lost Russ. Okay. Okay, confused person. Okay, whilst he's probably trying to jump back in and everything, there he is.
I'm back.
Let's go and say, Russ! Yeah, what are your thoughts on this one, sir?
I actually think this is the way that KO work best at the moment. Sorry, I'm just going to turn down the volume again on the...
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think this is the way that KO work best at the moment. A good friend of mine, Phil, runs them. Mm-hmm. They just again delete anything they want to get in combat with. You've got the 2d6 you can run and charge 2d6 run as well with a reroll. So if you don't like the run, and then if it's a 3d6 charge as well afterwards, then everything that jumps out of the boat gets strikes first. It's just a real solid list. You can get yourself out of a lot of holes with it as well because the movement's insane, the battle tactics are insane. So you're never out of the game with this list. And you can just remove key pieces. You can be very surgical with it. You can shoot the screens off and then get the 3d6 charge into the area that you want. So yes, it's a real good list, real solid list.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like the engine riggers as well. They have the capability of repairing the frigates. At the end of any phase, once per turn, they can pick a sky vessel within 3 inches of them. They get to roll dice, and on a 4 to 5, it heals 1 wound to that ship. On a 6, it heals 2 wounds. And it can add up. You've also got Grungson in there. Do you have any thoughts on Grungson at all?
For this list, he's absolutely perfect. I think he can give out 3 units, can run and charge.
That's right, yeah.
Or run and shoot. And although he doesn't get the Barracks on abilities himself, he gets, because he's got the right keywords, when he charges, he gets an extra attack because of his...
He gets +1 attack 12-inch bubble, yeah.
Yeah, but it only works for him because it's for the other sub-faction, but it works specifically for him because he gets that keyword.
Right.
But yeah, it's just super reliable combat, super reliable shooting. Not as overwhelming shooting as the last one, but just very top tier combat.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
you said. Oh, sorry. Go on.
so mobile as well, ridiculously mobile. Stormcaller's great. That'll catch a lot of people out. I think is that the one where you
That's the one. Whilst the general's on the battlefield, you can reroll dice for the navigator when he reads the winds. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be really good. I think this is a real good list. This is gonna be right up there. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know Peter. I don't know Peter. I've never met him. But I think this list is really good.
Yeah, exactly. Like the navigator, for people who don't know, the navigator gets to read the winds in the hero phase. He rolls 6 dice, and then he gets to choose one or two options. If you can either select all the ones, and I believe it's he can then choose for each one. He can choose an enemy unit, and they take D3 mortal wounds.
And I think half their move as well.
And half their move. And if he chooses chooses all the 6s instead, he can then select Sky Vessel to move an extra D3 plus 3 inches in the hero phase before doing any further movement. So the idea that, like you said, Stormcaller is a nice thing to have alongside that navigator. What are your thoughts on the Skyhook over the cannons?
A personal preference is the cannons.
Yeah.
But if he's, I suppose he might have been expecting a few monsters. And then the Skyhook does amazing against monsters.
Yeah.
I don't really think it matters too much, just because a lot of the power in the army comes from the combat. So giving yourself that bit of extra tech is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Just more situational.
For anyone who doesn't know, Skyhook, basically when they're shooting against monsters, the damage is a flat out 6. And in addition, if they score hits, they don't have to do any wounds. If they score a hit, they roll a dice on a 4 up. The monster's class is snagged, and they cannot carry any monstrous action with that monster. So, pretty nice. But yeah, so coming in on with that list, Peter, it looks strong, and good luck with that. We shall move on now to someone who we do know, Philip Springle. He's bringing in barracks on. So in this one, it's a +1 tier and wound rolls for melee weapons by Skyfarer units when they charge in the same turn. He's gone with Raw Disguise, which we've already covered before, and then he's gone with the Bloodthirsty Triumph instead, if he gets the opportunity. Leaders, Admiral coming in with the Grudge Bearer command trait, which means that basically after deployment, but before the start of the first battle round, pick one enemy hero, and you double the damage inflicted by each successful attack made with the general's weapons that target that hero. So quite situational, but has opportunity there. And then he also what's that?
Damage 6 attack.
Damage 6. And was it 4 attacks? I think he is.
Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can probably get him quite easily to 2s and 2s. that's a lot of damage output. And then he's got a handcuffed Nullstone icon. Navigator in there with the Void Stone Orb. Brock is also in here again. Now with the code, he's chosen the Proscate Wars with all haste, which means that he can once per turn in your movement phase, you can choose one unit to run 2d6, as we said before. Settle the grudges, and there's no risk without reward without risk. Now this is very similar to the one that Peter Vajnar took. We have 2 units of Arcanaut Company, 2 units of Sky Wardens, 2 reinforced units of Enduring Riggers. Oh no, I think Peter had them reinforced as well. Yeah, sorry. And 2 frigates, once again with the Skyhooks. In this one though, he's actually chosen the Magnificent Omniscope, which essentially means he adds 2 inches to this to the unit's move characteristic. And then bringing it all together, he has Battle Regiment and the Wizard Finders of Antor Battalion. Bring him in on a 4-drop at 1980. He's a global BCP ranking of 299, so he knows his stuff. He's a great player. I think you know him, don't you, Russ?
Yeah, Phil's a really good friend. Yeah. Got an England call up with myself as well, so he's a top tier player. He knows this list inside out. Just like the last list, it's very similar. The only difference is Phil does like his Admiral to go in and delete the hero that he needs off the board. But it's just a real top tier list. I think Phil's a real good shout for potential winner. I think he's got it in him. He's got the right list, and it does well into the meta. So keep an eye on Phil throughout this weekend. I'm predicting good things for him.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the stronger players, and with an army like this, you can see why he's potentially going to go top tables quite comfortably. Yeah, there's not much more we can say about this because we actually covered it a lot in Peter's list.
Yeah.
It's quite surprising when I was actually doing it. I had to do it 2 or 3 times, double take, just to make sure I hadn't accidentally copy and pasted over the same list. But no, in this instance, it's more or less the same. So hopefully, Philip, you do really well, and we'll be rooting after you. Now, this is our final KO list. I was expecting more KO, but it's nice to see we still have 3 lists going in. But moving on, we now have Lumineth Realm Lords. So we have Ewan Bedford Cooper coming in. He's bringing in the Zytrek subfaction, which means he gets +1 to his casting, unbinding, and dispelling rolls. He's gone with the grand strategy of Control the Nexus, which means he has to have 2 or more wizards wholly within the center of the battlefield, just like 6 inches of the battlefield center. No triumph because he had 2k points. In this one, though, he has the Scenari Caligrave with the Merciless Blizzard and Protection of Hysh. Protection of Hysh is casting value of 8 and a 9-inch range. Essentially, it's a 9-inch bubble. Once you're wholly within the 9-inch bubble, you get 5 up board. Scenari Catalog coming in this general with the Master of Magic, which we all know what that does anyway. Artifact of Power is the Silver Wand, which allows the bearer to cast 1 extra spell in their hero phase. They've gone with the Horfos and Merciless Blizzard. We then had the Light of Weltharion, and we also have Elania and Elethor also being dropped into this army. Battle line wise, we have a unit, reinforced unit, I do believe, of Venarial Orlan Wardens. We have a unit of Blade Lords, Dawn Riders with Solar Flare. Solar Flare is casting value of 8 in a 10-inch range. You pick a point on the battlefield. If there's an endless spell there, it's dispel instantly. And if there's a unit there, you roll a dice for each model, and on a 6 they take a mortal wound. And Speed of Hysh, which is a kind of a stable of LRL, is a casting value of 5, 18-inch range. You pick a unit and they double the move characteristic. Guess who he's putting that on? You then have another reinforced unit of Wardens, another unit of Dawn Riders, and then 3 Star Shard Ballisters. He then brings them into battalions with Command Entourage, choosing Magnificent, and a Battle Reg. And he's chosen the endless spell of Haitian Twinstones. He is a 6-drop, 2k on the nose. What are your thoughts, Russell?
You don't see Lumineth a lot at the moment. I think they did fall off a bit. But having said that, I know Jack Armstrong, probably one of the best players in the country, has been running a few ballistas himself lately. So there's clearly something in the list. I think ballistas can pick off a lot. It's interesting to see Elana and Elethor. I don't think I've ever seen them in a tournament list before. But yeah, it's a real interesting list. It's kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I'm not too sure about it. I don't know is the answer to that one. He's definitely got some spell power in there, so he's going to get a lot off, and he could defend himself against spells.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you're right. Admittedly, he doesn't have a BCP ranking, so he's potentially a new player or someone who just hasn't hit tournaments.
I know he goes to the Hydra Club, which is where Jack goes, and I've been a few times. And he does play a lot of 40k, I believe, as well. So he's a very experienced gamer, I believe.
Okay.
So he knows what he's doing.
Right, cool. You're right. I had to actually look up Elania and Elethor because I've seen them coming up every so often in result listings and things like that. But like I said, you don't often see them. So, for example, like they have a thing called Realm Wanderers, which if they're within 3 inches of the general, they get on a 4-up, they get an extra command point. Kind of cool. And they have a thing called Sudden Translocation, which at the end of the combat phase, they roll a dice if the unit has fought. If less than the battle round or less than the number of wounds allocated to this unit, first of all, they heal d6 wounds, and then they get removed from the battlefield, and then they have to get set up 12 inches away from all enemies. Now, admittedly, it does stipulate that if this is impossible to do so, it's removed from play, but not counted as slain. So, kind of awesome. For the viewers as well, Blade Lords, so he's got in here, they actually provide a bodyguard ability to the Scenari heroes. On a 2-up, they'll take the hits for them. And those ballisters, because they will come again in other lists, so I'll cover them off now. They have Blinding Bolts ability. So once per battle, they can opt to use their Blinding Bolts. The enemy unit that takes any damage from this also gets a -1 to hit for that until the next hero phase. They also have Skyhawks, so as long as they're within 12 inches of another baluster, they get to add 6 inches to their overall range. And when you've got 3 ballistas there, they're probably going to be sitting quite close to each other. And also, when they're shooting against monsters, instead of D3 for the damage, it's a flat out 3. So, yeah, with Light of Atharion in there, and like you said, the Surprise of Ilania and Elethor, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
I think Eltharion's been in a lot of lists lately. He's a mini Gotrek. There is a trick with him that you like and die and come straight back. That he's not got that in this list because I believe that's an artifact.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like a real solid list. It's got a bit of everything. Can do battle tactics. May struggle with his grand strat in this meta unless he goes second in Battle Round 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what it does because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
No, I completely agree with you. Like, I have to admit, when I was doing the slides, I've never been a fan of LRL, so it was a lot of teching and checking.
Is it have 2 or more wizards within the center of the battlefield?
Yeah, within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield. Now, admittedly, it doesn't say heroes, so any of his battle line could count as that as well, because they're hero. They have, as long as they have the wizard model still in their unit.
Yeah.
They can count for it. So perhaps it is more doable, but like you said, it is a hard one. You could easily block out that. Well, you can't easily. You could try and block out that 6 inch, or it's like, you can't do it anymore. Sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ewan, good luck, sir. Moving on then, like you were just saying, Jack Armstrong is coming in on this one. He's gone with Yumechka. Oh, we've got Jason in. Jason, welcome back, sir. Welcome back. We've got Yumechka in this one, so which means he worsens the rend characteristic of attacks that target those units by 2 instead of 1 to a minimum of 0. The grand strategy is Baron Icescape, so no enemy units within 6 inches of the center of the battlefield, and all enemy units with artifacts have to have been destroyed as well. He's got Scenari Caligrave as his general with the Lore Master, which essentially means he gets 2 extra spells from the Lore of Hysh. Yeah, he's got the Phoenix Stone, and then he's got the spells of Total Eclipse, Protection of Hysh, and the Speed of Hysh. On top of that, we then have Valinor, which is one of the named Spear of the Mountains. And then we have the Light of Eltharion again. With the battle line, he's gone with 5 Stone Guard, 10 Wardens with the Speed of Hysh, 10 Dawn Riders with the Protection of Hysh, 4 Ballistas, and then 1 Alarith Stone of the Mountain. He then has opted to put in the Battle Regiment, meaning he comes in at a 5-drop, 2k on the nose. Now, he is a good player. We couldn't find his BCP ranking, but I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good one. What's your thoughts, Russell?
It's mainly, well, BCP rankings are quite hard because we don't really use it. We don't use the ITC in this country, do we? But Jack's a real top class player, one of the best in the world. Those Spirit of the Mountains, particularly with the updated FAQ for Luminef, changing the rendering to what it should be, that they're going to be really hard to move. So it was reducing rend by 2, with 2 or 3 up saves, and access to obviously Mystic Shield really easily, or like defense. They're going to be really hard to shift, and I think the ballistas are just going to pick things off. I think with 4, you're starting to get into sort of overwhelming bit. You can do quite a lot of damage with those. There's definitely something in this list. It's going to be really hard to remove. A lot of potential damage output. It's really good to see.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Jason? I know you may just come in on this one, so totally understand if you can't.
I was listening to your last one as well. The Ballistas is one of those ally units I considered for my army. I love them. I just like the idea of the craziness of the shooting for that. It's amazing. Yeah, I haven't really played LRL much because when I started playing, they shot to the top of the tables. I stayed at the bottom, and then they disappeared. So it's not really one I fought much. I like the list for what I can see of it. It's a nice list, and I'm sure it will do well because the player alone adds a lot to it.
Yeah. They're saying in the chat as well. Dominic is saying like the Eltharion is crazy good at the moment anyway, and he's also pointing out mortal wound shooting gets around the lookout circle, so it has that potential there. Any final thoughts on Jack's list, considering he's one of our more competitive players?
Not like it's a Jack list. We know it's going to work. No real more thoughts. Like I think we said anything. It's going to work. Jack plays it, so
Yeah,
expect him to be at the top end with it.
absolutely. Jack, we expect to see you at the top table. Good luck, sir. We're now moving on to Luke Grant. He's also sticking with Geometrica, and he's gone the grand strategy as Spellcasting Savant, so he has to keep his Wizard General alive. This one's actually got Teclis in it. So he's got Archmage Teclis, and then he's got an Alloy Stone Mage as his general. He's gone with a command trait of Tectonically Attuned, which means at the start of the shooting phase, he can pick one of his Spirit of the Mountains within 3 inches and add one to their tax characteristics of their Geomantic Blast until the end of that phase. He's then gone with the Merciless Blizzard spell. Battle line, he's got 10 Wardens, 5 Dawn Riders, and then 2 Alois Spirit of the Mountains. Now, with the Spirit of the Mountains, they bind well with the Stone Mage. So basically, if they're within 12 inches of Stone Mage, they get to use the top line of the damage table for their attacks, of the damage table. Battalion-wise, they've gone with a Line Breaker and a Battle Regiment, and then he's opted to select also the Haitian Twin Stones. 4 drop as a consequence, 2k on the nose. Your thoughts, Russell?
I think it's again pretty similar to Jack. Is that Jack's in that those Spirit of the Mountains are going to be incredibly hard to shift. You're going to have a lot of output. He's got a bit more spell protection with Teclis, because obviously he can auto unbind. He's got his aura of 4-up spell ignore with bouncing mortal wounds back. So I think it's more of an all-rounder list. I think it's going to be okay into the meta. It just depends what he comes up against and if he can keep Teclis alive. Because there's a lot of armies, for instance, Phil's KO that will just kill Teclis instantly.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see a Line Breaker battalion. I don't think I've ever seen one.
Yeah, agreed.
It will do well because it can score points. I don't know how well it'll do in the long term because Teclis, I think, it's just gone over the top with his points increase. He's gone to the point now where you're really starting to think, is he too much for what he does?
Mm-hmm.
But again, the Spirit of the Mountains are just going to be almost impossible to remove. Unless you can absolutely spam mortal wounds, which I guess some can. But I think it will do well. It's just not much more to say there, really.
No, exactly. One thing I'll point out before I go to Jason is the Heartstone Amulet, by the way, gives a 4-up save against mortal wounds. And there are there are actually 2 extra spells as well in this army list. He has access to the Graphitic Redirection, which is casting value of 5 and 18-inch range, which allows the caster to fly. In addition, he can pick 1 enemy unit within range, and that enemy unit cannot fly, and its move is halved. He also has access to the Ethereal Blessing spell, casting value of 6 and an 18-inch spell. He picks a friendly unit and essentially makes them ethereal. So positive and negative modifiers, let's say, don't make any difference.
Spirits of the Mountain 3-ups or 2-up base?
3-ups, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check. I'll have a look whilst Jason gives his thoughts. What do you think, Jason?
There's not really much more to say apart from what Russ said. It's Teclis. I would be aiming at Teclis first just to clear it off the board, and then just try and do what you can against the rest of it. Chuck everything you can at Spirit of the Mountain and just see if you can clear it. But the other idea is maybe clear the numbers and bung up the mountains and just catch the rest of the board. I don't know exactly, but it's that Teclis. If you get rid of him, it makes the army a lot less scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
if he's there, then if Teclis is there, he does a hell of a lot for the army. So it's a risk reward with Teclis.
Absolutely. Like admittedly, I've taken out Teclis with Demonettes before. It surprised me, surprised the opponent, it surprised everybody. So he's not impossible to put down. But like they were saying in the chat as well, like Cabbage has been saying that LOL have a high skill floor. Have a high skill floor and skill ceiling. Our top players can do amazing things, but hard for new players. So you have to see them. You'll see them up and down the tables. And Gitley's also said that he's got to a point where he can't really just justify Teclis at the moment, particularly with the primal dice around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a curious one to see how Teclis does the LGT, particularly in such a Magic prominent meta at the moment.
He's one of the few Magic pieces that have not benefited from Primal Dice.
Mhm.
Everyone else seems to have got better. It's kind of really closed the gap and made his points because they're questionable of whether you take him or not.
Yeah.
Well, the list does have a lot of staying power, and I expect it to do quite well, but we'll see. I don't know Luke personally, so we'll see what it does with it.
No, cool, fantastic. Well, Luke, good luck. And with that, that's the end of our LRLs. We're now going to move on to the Idoneth Deepkin. Now, there's this one fellow we're about to talk about. He's a right dodgy geezer. You should watch out for him. He's Jason. That's right, the one in our chat. So, Jason, do you want to read out your list, or shall I read out and then you do your comments on it afterwards?
I can. It's a really small list because it's IDK. There's one big build at the minute.
Go for it then.
So,
save my voice.
Sub-faction I cannot pronounce, but Futhan.
Futhan.
Basically, makes your sharks battle like the Alapexes, not sharks, battle line, and you can take Bloodthirsty Shivers, which sharks and Bloodthirsty Shiver just got a big buff because hit 6s to hit do double hits. That includes your shooting and your melee, which is a big thing for them. Grand strategy, Overshadow, kill all the battle line, keep one of mine alive. I've done Inspired, but in 1990, I could get it. You never know. Leaders, Achillean King. I'm not giving up on him yet. His command trait of Unstoppable Fury. When he's affected by High Tide, he gets +2 to his attack. Well, one of his attack profiles. It'll be his main attack for every unit within 3 inches of him. Giving him the Arcane Tome because I had nothing really else to give him. Just to be a little spellcaster, nothing special, gets extra dispels. The Mount trait, Vorchild Darkness, -1 to hit if you're within 3 inches of him.
Nice.
The named king, the High King of the Deep, the Volturnus, basically does exactly the same, apart from he has a 4+, I think it is, a spell ignore, and he doesn't get the extra attacks on the charge. That's about it for him, but he's another nice model at 10 points more. I think he does add something to the army. And the thing that got put in there instead of the ballistas, the Tidecaster, so 1 cast wizard. You can pick 2 rituals at the start of the game instead of 1. His spells, Seed of Tides, it's a hero teleport, and Merciless Blizzard, there's no real need to tell you what that is. Now, the main thing. I've done the IDK list in a certain order, because it builds up. I've gone with 6 sharks. 2 lots of 3, which is Bloodthirsty Shiver is 3 sharks, so 2 lots of 3. Each of those, they all have the Razor Shell Harpoon because it's too good not to take. 4 shots, 24-inch range, 3 threes, -1 for D3 damage. And once again, hits of 6 do 2 hits. It's so good for shooting. Really powerful in melee as well. Really nice models. I've gone with 2 of the Mortar Guard, the offensive eels, that do more damage on the charge, more damage and rend on the charge for one of their weapons profiles. One of the fun parts I like about them, and I took them mainly for this because I just love the ability. After the charge move, you can ping their Biovoltic Energy, or I think it's called.
Yeah.
And you roll a dice for each model in the enemy unit you charged. If they've got more than you, Mortar Guards have 3, so you're most likely choosing something that has more models than you. You add 1 to the roll. On a 1 to 2, nothing happens. 3 to 4, you do a mortal. 5 to 6, you do D3 mortals. So it's really a horde killer sort of thing. You go in there, blow up whatever's in front of you. I've taken off 40 stabbers off Paul before with that.
Yep.
Fanatics jumped out and tried to kill me. But still. Apart from that, they're just really nice. The Charlatan Guard are the defensive eels, so they've got a 4+ ethereal save. If they charge, it actually goes to a 3-up ethereal save. Slightly less powerful in melee, but still really nice little units to have. I went for a Warlord Battalion just to get the extra spell. What else can I say about the army? Apart from the Tidecaster, it's a really simple army. Everything flies and moves 14 inches. Flat out, that's what it does. I love that. So that's think about it. Yeah, my list is built for power, but also a bit of fun with the eels. I can't say no to them.
No, fair enough. Just for the viewers as well, he's a 12 drop at 1990, and Jason, you sit at 3070 on the rankings. Sorry?
So we need to get that bumped up a bit.
I hope so.
Now, OBR badly for a long time.
Gitley just said in the chat and everything, mad that this is the latest spam IDK list. Now, I just want to put a kind of precursor on that one. And that is Jason is what I class as a Johnny player on psychographical charts and everything. He'll go into books and he'll list tech to his until he's more than happy and comfortable with it all. He looked at this way before the list came out with him. And it's like he said to me, I'm going to do a shark list. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? And he explained it to me. I said, okay, I see the potential in that one. And I kid you not, a week later on Bob's list review, someone went 5-0 with a spam shark list. And it's happened several times. And you know what? It's not the first time this is done with Jason. Jason's like almost like a truth sayer where you'll see something. It's like, if you take this army, you could potentially do really well. And then 2 weeks later, someone's done that. So you're right. This is a spam list. But Jason did consider it long, before you actually started seeing it coming up in the army lists. Russ, your thoughts, though?
I think we had the conversation the other day. I think the buff to the Sharks is massive. You're going to see in the next 2 lists that they're very good now. A lot of armies won't be able to handle the shooting. It's just gonna take a lot of armies off the board before they can do much. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Jason said most of it. I'm a real Ill fan. Me and Jason were saying the other day, I really, really like Ills. I think they've got something in this meta as well. I've written a list with 2 units of 6 of them, and 6 Sharks. But yeah, it's like people are going to see obviously the next 2 lists. Sharks are really good now.
Yeah, I've actually been corrected. The Gitley actually said it was the least spammiest list that we see here.
Yeah, of the 3,
yeah, of the 3, this is the least spammiest. But you know what? I've played against this with Jason when we've been army testing and everything like that, and the maneuverability, the versatility, and the idea that each of those alapexes count as 1 unit. So if you're going to shoot something, it has to go into that alapex. Plus, add into the idea that IDK, they generally have that rule, you have to shoot the closest unit to you. It means that you can try splitting your attacks, but if there's only 1 shark close to you than everyone else, you're going to have to put all your attacks into that shark.
You're shooting.
Yeah, exactly. It has potential, and I can see why it's doing so well. But Jason, mate, this is your time. London Grand Tournament, you're coming in with an army that has strong potential. Let's get you up to at least, 3rd from bottom?
If I'm lucky, yeah.
It's horrible. I believe in you, Jason.
That's fairly accurate, to be fair.
This is why we're like live from the bottom half on our other stream. It's kind of the idea. We know our place in the grand scheme of things, but no, honestly, Jason, best of luck to you, mate. We'll be rooting for you on this.
It's going to be a fun list to play, no matter what.
Exactly, and that's what you wanted, wasn't it? We shall move on then to guess what? Hazel is bringing IDK with Ruthran. Now, same sort of thing, but in this instance, she's chosen the Achillean Pursuit program strategy, which means she has to have at least 3 Achillean units in the enemy territory at the end of the battle. She's gone with the leader of the Isharan Tidecaster with the general, Shaman of the Chilled Lands as her command traits, as access to all his spell lore. She's gone with the Rune of Surging Gloomtide, which is you can call in a 2nd terrain piece at the end of your 1st movement phase. And then she's got the Steed of Tide spell, which is casting value of 5, 6-inch range, and essentially is a hero teleport. She's then brought in a Knight Incantor as an ally with the Levitate spell. And then because she wants to outdo Jason on this one, clearly, she bought nothing short than 9 bloodthirsty Alapexes. And then Big Daddy Leviathan getting chucked in there with a reverberating carapace and 2 battle wedges, meaning she's a 2-drop, 2,000 points on the nose, and a BCP ranking of 56. Now, we all know Hazel. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people watching this are very aware of Hazel. and how well she does. But Russ, your thoughts?
It's absolute insanity. So I don't know what to say. That 9 sharks is crazy output. The Leviathan giving them +1 save as well, and then you got turn 1 in cover. They're going to be super hard to kill. I wouldn't want to face it.
No.
Just looking at the command traits. The artifacts, you can essentially have 4 little pieces of ship on the board with it.
Yeah.
So you can do really like cute stuff with it, where you can stop hordes getting in, or if you can like box monsters and just make it really hard for people to charge you, just to further increase the survivability. Yeah, it's a real side list. I'm looking at it, thinking it's going to do really well. It'll be interesting to see what does better out of this one, and then the next one you'll see.
Yeah.
Both real top players, both people I'd be expecting to see fighting for the title, or 5-0's top end of the table. So yeah, be really interested. Hazel as well got a call up to Team England this year, so well done, Hazel.
Nice, congratulations, Hazel. Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to watch and see which one of the two does better. They're both super solid lists, insane amount of damage output, at range as well, 24 inches away. I
think Jason worked this out at 36 shots each shooting phase. Is that including the Leviathan shots, Jason?
This is 9 shots, so this is 36 shots. Then the Leviathan actually has the equivalent profile, but for 8 shots. So it's actually 44 effectively shots. 3 3s -1 for D3.
And all the sharks are exploding 6s, so you spike a little bit.
It just goes.
Any thoughts from you, Jason?
It's IDK. I love it. It's similar to my build, apart from she's got the Leviathan, slightly different heroes. Cause I've just had a bit of. I went for a bit more fun. Not saying this isn't fun, but but yeah, I love it. It's going to be scary seeing that much shooting until we get to the next list.
Until we get to the next list. Yeah, it's curious to see the Leviathan in there. 400 points with it. I think it's worth its 400 points. I was getting annoyed when they were reducing it in points, but that was just me having to play against it.
one thing IDNF did struggle with is their grand strategy, but I think Hazel's picked a really good one, because you've got 9 individual
models,
Alapexes, and a Leviathan.
That
grand strategy is almost a guarantee, because super fast, and it's really hard to kill 9 individual 8 wound models that have got +1 to save all the time.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like going into the chat and everything, we've got a lot of love for Hazel here anyway. But like Cabbage said, you can give this list to anyone, it'll be good. But Hazel will make it sing, and with her capability as a player in Age of Sigmar, you can't deny that at all. It'll be good to see. It'll be good to see. Good luck, Hazel. Good luck. Because we didn't think it was bad enough, we're now going on to Simon Weekly. Now, admittedly, Jason, have we actually got his sub-factional grand strategy on this one at all?
It'll be Futhan, and I'll find his grand strategy.
Cool, fantastic. Whilst he's doing that, though, in the meantime, he's got an Isran Tidecast as his general with the teachings of the Tur Scroll, which means you can reverse the tides. Essentially making turn 1 retreat and charge, turn 2 strike first, turn 3 run and shoot or run and charge, turn 4 +1 save, and turn 5 retreat and charge. He then has the artifact of the Rune of Surging Gloomtide, which once again you can add the terrain piece. And then he's got Steed of Tides, which we already covered before the hero teleport. He then has allied in a Black Ark Fleet Master. So, kind of curious on that one. He has
Grand Strat's the same as Hazel.
Grand Strat, same as Grand. Okay, so three Alapexes or 3 Killian units within enemy territory.
3 Killian units.
He has 12 sharks. 12 sharks. 48 shots there, guys. 12 sharks. 2 battalions. He's a 4-drop at 2,000 points and a BCP ranking of 32. Russ, your thoughts?
This is absolutely crazy. Simon, right? We've seen what Simon's done before with weird stuff. Last year he had his 21 spawn list, which everyone was a bit, what's that? I'm unsure about what the Fleet Master does. I think it's just an ally that he had points for.
That's what we thought.
Maybe sit back and grab an objective. But the shooting followed by the combat, like if he really wants to go alpha, taking all the screens off turn 1, flipping the tides, and just bombing 12 sharks into combat is going to be madness.
Yeah.
Again, I expect this to be right up there all weekend. Not least that he's playing for Flairman as well. He's an incredible player.
No, I completely agree with you. You can see the general absurdity building up from these 3 IDK lists, 6, 9, and 12. And like I said, he's a very confident player. So he should do well. Your thoughts, Jason?
I love it. It's insane, but I love it. I've always loved the Sharks, and just 12 of them on the board. That's just... I want to see it on the board. Before I even start my first fight, I just want to see 12 Sharks on the board. It'd be amazing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be insane getting 48 shots out.
48 shots. It is what it is. Games Workshop has given the opportunity, and by God, are people going to take advantage of it. But Simon, you know what? Good luck, sir. We hope you do well. That's the end of our IDKs. We're now going to move into, everyone loves them, the Seraphon. David Beckers is our first one. Now, the one thing I'm going to say with this one, guys, is we'll probably do a lot of talking about the rules and abilities on this one, because essentially this list gets rinsed and repeated a couple of times, as you'll see shortly. Oh, my echo's going off. I apologise. His sub-faction is Fangs of Sotek, which means he can use the redeploy up to 3 times, but the first 2 times not costing any points. Grand strategy is spellcasting Savant, which means his wizard general must not be slain. He's thrown in there a Slan Starmaster as his general with the Lord of Celestial Resonance, which means each time he successfully casts a spell that is not unbound, or unbinds a dispel or end a spell, he receives 2 cosmic power points instead of 1. He's got the artifact of Space Folder's Stave, which means once per turn he can essentially bring in a Starborn unit that's been held in reserve, and they can set up 7 inches away instead of the typical 9. And then he's got Comet's Call, which is casting value of 7. He gets to pick D3 units. If it's a 10 plus on the casting, it's D6 units, and then each unit takes D3 mortal wounds. He's then got Skink Star Priest in there with the Merciless Blizzard. Skink starts here with the Speed of Huanchi. Speed of Huanchi is casting value of 6, 18-inch range. He can choose a Coxicle or Skink unit that is not a monster, and they can immediately make a move. He's got Skink Oracle and Troglodon with Cosmic Crush, which is casting value of 7 and 12-inch range. He picks an enemy unit and rolls a dice for each model in the unit. For each roll that exceeds the save roll, they take a mortal wound. He has Lord Croak, because why not? And he has the Saurus Astrolith Bearer. Battle line wise, he has his Raptidon Chargers, 5 Saurus Guard, 10 Skinks, 3 Terror Rings, and then he has 3 Ender Spells, including the Umbral Spell Portal, the Malevolent Maelstrom, and the Suffocating Gravetide. Core battalion wise, he's gone with the Antorian Acolytes, a Battle Regiment, and a Command Entourage where he selected the Magnificent option, coming in on 6 drops, 2k on the nose, and a BCP ranking of 8294. What are your thoughts, Russell?
It's Seraphon, right?
Yeah.
That's all we need to say. Yeah, it's crazy good. Interesting to see how the Troglodon does since they nerfed the
capability.
Croak Bomb from the Troglodon. It's kind of, I don't think he's worth his points anymore. But I think there's a lot of alpha potential because you can teleport the Troglodon away, do a Croak spell through it, do another Croak spell through the Emerald Spell Portal, do a Slan spell through the Troglodon as well, and then bomb the Maelstrom through at the end. So if it comes off, you've probably not got any heroes left at the end of their first hero phase.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raptidon Chargers, crazy efficient. Their damage output potential is massive. I think I was speaking to Luke a few weeks ago. Unit 5 just whipped Teclis off the board by themselves. It's mad.
Yeah.
It's just so good. Everything about it's good. The only thing it might struggle against is things like Phil KO list. He hasn't got any Basties or Kronspine, so he might struggle if someone gets an alpha into him, or if they double him, because they can get into the meat of the army then. But having said that, if he doesn't get doubled, he can just summon and just be relentless. Pardon me. Real solid list.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just a few notes for the views and everything, because I just pull them in just for rules and everything. Troglodon has the terror effect, so no inspiring presence within 3 inches of him. He also has the venomous spittle, which means any unmodified hit rolls of the spittle or jaws attacks, the 6, they do mortal wound equivalent damage. Flat out, yeah. There's no wounding rolls on that one. The Astrolith Bearer, essentially any units wholly within 12 inches of the bearer gets a 6-up ward. And then in addition to that, they also add +1 to casting for friendly wizards whilst they're within 12 inches. And in addition, they add 6 inches to the range of friendly spells. And also, the Star Priest has a Serpent Staff, so in the hero phase, they can pick one friendly unit wholly within 12 inches and allow them to ensure that any unmodified wound rolls of 6 cause a mortal wound in addition. So nice little adjustments in that one. Jason, your thoughts?
I thought it just killed everything. Simple as that, really. There's not much I could really do against it. It's scary how much output in the hero phase they do, and it's just what it is. I want to avoid Seraphon as much as possible, but then all I'm going to be doing for my DK is probably trying to kill some of the heroes, get rid of those, and see what happens.
You can't see the heroes, can you, other than Croak? I think that could be the one good thing about the Sharks is because they've only got 5 Saurus Guard, Croak could go down turn 1. Potentially. With new rules, that you can't see any of the other heroes because they'll just be camped next to them 10 skinks or the 5 guard.
Yeah, the look outside.
Outside of 12, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to come within 12, oh boy.
come be with us. It's like
I don't know what, but even just taking Croak off the board turn 1, I'm happy with that.
I think even with 5 guard, it's not statistical that you do. I think it's like there's a 40% chance that you can, or something like that.
But it's fun. And as we will see as we go to the next couple of lists and everything, very similar kind of builds, and you can understand why. So in this instance, David, good luck. We're moving on then to Curtis Shin. Okay, he's also got Fangs of Sotek and Spellcasting Savant. He's got the Inspired Triumph. He's gone with Lord Croak, Saurus Astrolith Bearer, Slan Starmaster's General with the Lord of Celestial Resonance, same as before, and also his Artifact Space Folder's Stave. He's got the Comet's Call spell, and he's bound to the Kronspine, which is included in this army list. He's got a unit of Saurus Guard, 2 units of Skinks, 2 units of Raptidon Chargers, the Kronspine, which we just advised about, going in a battle regiment, and he's chosen the end the spell of Aether's Void Pendulum. He is a 1-drop, 1980, with a VCP ranking of 1696. Any further thoughts on this one, Russell?
Curtis is a really good friend, so I know he's been working really hard on this list. It's a shame that the Kronspine got nerfed just before, but his Kronspine model is amazing, and I can't wait to see it. You'll all see it soon.
Is it a proper Kronspine model, or is it a converted?
It's a proxy, but it's a Seraphon proxy, so it looks like it fits in the army really
nice.
Well. Yes, really, really cool. I think it's a really good list, slightly different from the last list. It still has its spell power, but I think this one is more combat based, which is good to see.
Yeah,
it means he can project more. He can move the Kronspine forward and allow Croak to come out with him, which I think the last list does struggle with. Croak has to kind of be back. With this, Croak can push forward and do damage that way. And the Chargers will just delete stuff. Chargers are really, really good. Being 1-drop, he does lose the Andorian Acolytes, but he does gain a lot of the time the ability to choose the turn. So he can stop those things that you think might double him. He's just got I would say he's got to be careful of the new Rupture, but I don't think anyone's going to have bought it. So I think he might be okay.
Not unless they've got the access to all the spells, but I think you're right on that front.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a slightly different list, but it'll do just as good. Yeah. It's going to be incredibly hard for people to play against.
Yeah, just for the viewers and everything, a couple of rules as well. Skinks, when they run or retreat, they can roll 2 dice and choose the result out of one of the two ones.
Run or redeploy, not retreat.
Oh, redeploy. Sorry, redeploy. My apologies.
Which is why Fangs of Sotek is so good, because you can do redeploy 3 times. Mm-hmm. And the first 2 times it doesn't cost if you use it on a skink.
Yeah.
Unit. So you can essentially redeploy 2 skink units for free.
Yeah, makes sense. When I read that, and I remember Rob reading on his stream, it's like, wait, so you don't have to spend the point until you do it 3rd time. You'll never do it the 3rd time. And that's where really desperate comes in.
You've got Croak and the Slann as well are giving you 3 command points. Like if you ever run out of command points with Seraphon, you've done something horribly wrong.
And also the Raptidon Chargers, they actually have a thing called Geomantic Empowerment. Basically, damage of their lancers is 2 if the unit contesting this objective, if the unit is contesting an objective or within 3 inches of a terrain feature with the Arcane Sorcery rule. So that's kind of cool. We already know about Saurus Guard. But Jason, your thoughts?
It's the same as everything so far. So basically, I can add nothing more than the army than Russ, because Russ knows this army. It's still a scary army. I don't know, even with IDK with their movement mobility, I don't know how it would work against this. Simple as that.
No, I think there's not much more we can say when it comes to this list, because it's very similar to the last one. But Curtis, we hope you do well, mate. We really do. Moving on then, we then got Matthew Beer. Fangs of Sotek with his spellcasting savant again, and he's chosen Indomitable as his triumph. Slann Starmaster with essentially the same setup. Skink Starseer with the Merciless Blizzard. Croaky and Yestralith Bearer. 3 units of Skinks this time. Now in this instance, he's gone with a Bastiladon with a solar engine, and he's got Gotrek Gurnisson on here as well. Core battalions, he's gone with the Antorian Acolytes and a Battle Regiment. He's a 3-drop, 1990. With a global BCP ranking of 233. So, Russ, what do you think?
Again, really, really solid list. This Seraphon.
Yeah.
Interesting that he's got no Saurus Guard.
No Saurus Guard, no.
Ooh, so could be that's going to be a rough if he comes up against Deakin or shooting lists, because Croak will be dead turn 1. You can't hide Croak. Croak's dead. Gotrek, interesting pick. Again, I don't personally like him, but he's a real solid piece. And the Bastiladon, interesting to see the shooting variant. But again, between Gotrek and Bastiladon, much like the Kronspine in the last list, it's going to allow, if Croak survives, to push forward. And it just means that his bubble becomes huge and he's just going to do an insane amount of damage. Yes, Seraphon, right? It's a really good list. Be interesting to see how he does without Saurus Guard. We'll find out.
For someone,
not really too much more I can say.
Yeah, for someone at his level, it does make you wonder where his thinking is with the idea of the lack of Saurus Guard. The idea he's saying there was still on the solar engine, which when I went in, I was going to try and get some notes up, and there are no notes. It's just his normal shooting profile and everything like that. He's got Gotrek in there, which is he'll be formidable on the battlefield. From a lore perspective, I hate the idea that certain factions within Order can take Gotrek. It just doesn't make sense to me, but that's just me and my Timmy side coming out. It's an interesting one, and I assume he has a battle plan in place for this. I really do. Jason, your thoughts?
All I can think of is Gotrek in this list. What? Okay, he never really adds anything to the army. He's his own entity, effectively, in the army. But what is he going to actually help with? Apart from just being a really annoying block that doesn't die.
Yeah.
Well, for most units. We've already figured out how to kill him, but most units.
Yeah, I suppose it's the same principle as the Kronk one, right? He's something that's not easy to kill, so he can push forward and allow Croak to come up behind it. I think this does though struggle into. I think this was probably better before the emergence of the 12 sharks, or the sharks ban.
Yeah, absolutely. Other than that, though, Matthew, unfortunately, there's not much more we can say other than good luck.
Yeah, good luck. I'm sure he'll do well.
Richard Wigmore. Once again, Fangs of Sotek, spellcasting savant, and inspired on this occasion, just to change it up a little bit. Ashloth Bearer with the Arcane Tome. Slanstar Master with the Celestial Resonance again, and then comments called Hoarfrost. Croaky, Skink Starseer, Skink Star Priest with variable spells. 2 units of Skinks, a unit of Saurus Guard, and then 3 Bastiladons with the Ark of Sotek. He then has a battalion of Antorian Acolytes and Warlord, coming in on 11 drops, 1980, and a BCP ranking of 1525. Or worse, slight difference.
Love the list. It's extremely similar to mine. The only difference for me is I have 1 less Basti and an extra unit of Guard, because I'm expecting a lot of Beast of Chaos coming soon.
Right.
But I think it's the cracking list. Having 3 Bastiladons that don't die, just to push forward, and again, Croak sits behind them. It's going to cause a lot of people a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Particularly as well because the Starseer can give 5-up wards to, so turn 3, for instance, he can give 5-up wards to essentially 3 units. Triple Basti's can have 5-up wards. He's got access to 5-up ward through 10 points on the Ashloth Bearer. It's going to be incredibly hard to kill the Basties, and it just means Croak's going to be in position the whole game, firing mortal wounds everywhere. It's going to be a madness. I love this.
Yeah. It's a scary list to look upon. Like I've had the fortune. I'm going to say fortune of never having to play Seraphon in all the times I've gone into it. I've never been pitted up against Seraphon. And God, does it continue?
Should we change that, shall we?
No. Russ, no. What's that? You mean disconnected?
I reckon we should have a vote in the chat. Who reckons? We should put Paul against the.
Guys.
Get the Seraphon round 1.
Let me just have a little moment. That's the okay for you. Thing. I'm not a great player anyway. Yeah, just make me cry at the first game, okay? So let's just leave it be and think happy thoughts, shall we? Anywho, Jason, what are your thoughts, sir?
I just like Raptor's comment. Only put him against Seraphon throughout the entire tournament.
Michael, no. Bad man.
What? I'm just checking the chat. What are they saying?
They said only Seraphon throughout, and also I'll happily vote for that, says Draconda, who's instantly banned from my stream.
Are there 5 Seraphon lists?
I feel I'm getting my wife's flu. I'm feeling ill. I think I may not make the first game, guys. What's that?
I thought Bastiladons and it didn't go down. I thought the other stuff. It's the same sort of deal of just I wouldn't know what to do, and it would probably just water me off the board before I can do anything anyway. Pretty much.
Yeah,
that's one thing with IDK.
Your shots aren't really going to touch the Basties with their 2-up save.
With my 1 rend, they used to be really good. Now it's anything has pretty much 1 rend.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, this is it. Well, we've seen essentially the same sort of builds with slight adjustments in all of them, but ultimately this does come across as a very strong mortal wound list, and just a list in general, a very strong list. But Richard, we hope you do well, and good luck on this one. Moving on to the final one. Now, this fella, you have to shake him by the hand and doff your cap to him and everything. He said, you want that Starborn stuff? Push that aside. He's going Coalesce. And we salute you. You're the only one doing it at the LGT, and frankly, breath of fresh air. I mean, nothing against Starborn, of course. if you're going to be against Seraphon, this is the one I want to be going against, okay? This is what I want to be going against.
Just Coalesce is still a 5-0 army, mate.
I know, but
it's a toss-up between Coalesce and Starborn. It's just Starborn's the flavour of the moment. I think it's another cracking list. Love Croxagore. It's just real good list.
Yeah, true, very true. So yeah, basically he's gone Coatal's Claw, which means he gets +1 to wound for attacks with by melee weapons with his Saurus and Croxigor. He's gone with the grand strategy of Overshadow, which means he has to eliminate all battle line units, enemy units, and have at least one of his alive still. He's gone with the Indomitable Triumph. He's got the Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur as his general with the Vengeful Defender, which means at the start of your hero phase, if this general is wholly within your territory, you can pick this general up to 2 friendly Saurus or Crosscore units wholly within 12 inches of the general, and they can make a normal move there and then. He then has the artifact of Sotek's Gaze, which means enemy models with a wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 cannot contest objectives whilst they're within 6 inches of the bearer. He has Skink Starseer with Heavily Frenzy, which is a casting value of 7 and 18-inch range. Pick a friendly unit that you can run in charge. He's got 20 Saurus Warriors, 10 Saurus Warriors, 6 Aggrodon Lancers, 6 Croxigor, 5 Hunters Huanchi with the Starstone bonus, and a Stegodon with the Sky Streak Bow. Battle Wedging this army in, he's 1-drop at 1990. Difference in it, this one, Russell? Thoughts?
Love it. The Saurus Warriors are going to be... Are they 20s?
20 and a 10.
20 and 10. The 20 in particular is going to be really hard to kill. If they sit on an objective, they get +1 save, so you can all defense them as well. They're going to be a 3-up save, essentially. 2 wounds apiece, -1 damage. Really, really hard to shift them. Croxigor, Aggrodon Lancers is where the output's coming from. Stegodons now count as 10 on objectives. It's just a real solid list. Be interesting to see how it does, because I think there is a huge amount of potential in
Coalesce.
Not Starborn, the other one. Coalesce, that's it. Yeah, I think there's a huge amount of potential there.
Yeah, exactly. Like you were just saying, with the Aggrodon Lancers, they have a thing called Primal Rage, which basically they have a dice beside them and starts at 0. At the end of each combat phase, if the unit's still within 3 inches of enemy units, you increase it by 1. If there are no enemy units around it after the end of the combat phase, it sets to 0. But whilst that rage score is at least 1 or higher, you add it to the attacks characteristics of its bites and talons. So, it can go up. The Hunters, they have a Chameleon Ambush, which essentially is a reserve setup. But the addition to that, though, is that they can go back into reserve at the end of the movement phase. And basically, it does specify on their one, unlike the Arachnarok, that they have to be on the battlefield come round 4. And then they've also got the perfect Mimicry, which means unit is not visible to enemy outside 12 inches. So it does have that kind of adaptability in it. Jason, your thoughts?
I've not actually fought a coalesced army, and I know it would not be necessarily in my best interest to fight it. I would actually kind of find it interesting to fight this style of Seraphon. But even then, without saves, it just makes it hard to shift. It's just not going to get anywhere with my guys. But
yeah, the -1 damage really hurts you as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, horrifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like it. I think it could do well given the right sort of opponents. But then I think it's like the Immortus Guard. They just don't go anywhere. They'll sit there and just look at you.
No,
say, come here if you want to fight. I'm just going to stay here and just watch.
No, absolutely. Just a couple of shout-outs before we move on to the Stormcast. Dominic has actually did a message to you, saying at the Kent GT, you drew him with 3 Seraphon on day 1. And that was when he was playing old kits. I know it's all kind of by chance and everything, but God fail for Dominic.
It's his own fault.
Yeah, we're doing too well. That's it, Dominic. Don't do well when there's so many Seraphon around. Yeah. And then we've had Jaconda saying Stuart here is a great chap. Always a pleasure to play with. Stuart, good luck with this one. Great to see you taking something other than Starborn. I hope you do well. Like I said, though, we're about to go into the Stormcast, and we're moving into Dan Sidder's list. A lot of information on this thing because it's Stormcast. They've gone with Silence of the Storm, so 1 in every 2 units can be set up in reserve. Straightforward enough. Subfaction is Hammer Sigmar, so units wholly within 12 inches of objectives gain a 6-up ward. Grand Strategy is Spellcasting Savant. And he's gone with a Holy Command for Call for Aid, so he can return a Redeemer unit wholly within 12 inches of a hero once they've been destroyed. Leaders, he has the Lord Arcanum on the Griff Charger as his general, with the Shaman of the Chilled Lands, so we know what that is. He then also has a spell of Celestial Blade, which is casting value of 5 and 18-inch range, +1 to wound for melee. Straightforward enough. He's got Lord Celestin on Dracoth, with a Storm Strike Grave. He's got the Luck Stone with that one, which essentially once per battle you can choose one result of a hit, wound, or save, or charge roll. You get to essentially choose what it's going to be. He's then also got the mad trait of Celestial Instinct, which essentially allows him to retreat and shoot or retreat and charge. He's got 4 Dracothian Guard Tempestors, another 4 Tempestors, 4 Fulminators, 5 Sequitors, and 5 Vanguard Hunters. Coming in with a Battle Regiment, he's 1 drop, 2k on the nose, with a BCP ranking of 929. So, our first Stormcast list, Russ, what do you think?
First of all, Dan's one of my very good friends. He's absolutely terrible at Warhammer.
His ranking doesn't say it.
Dan's a good player. I don't know a great deal about Stormcast at the minute because they kind of fell off the radar, and now suddenly they got a couple of points drops and a half decent battle tactic, and then people bringing them back. So yeah. I'm unsure. I don't know. I'm sure Dom will tell me different in the chat.
Yeah, he's saying Tempestors are brilliant at the moment.
Fulminators are Fulminators. They're great.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I'm really going to be keeping track of Stormcast this weekend because I'm very unsure about how they stand, whether or not the points and the battle tactic was enough.
Well, I think you're right, Russ. To be honest, if people are unaware and everything, there's actually going to be 7 Stormcast players at the tournament, and I think you've hit the nail on the head with the idea that with the points drops and everything, 2 sets of point drops really in the last 6 months, they're becoming versatile, they're becoming viable, and so you are seeing a lot. I don't know what your thoughts are, Jason, at all.
It's a lot of Tempestors and Fulminators when I was looking at this list. And also, you forgot Lord Relictor.
Did I? Oh, yeah, Lord Relictor. Let's throw him in there as well with a translocation spell. Sure.
The most important piece.
Yeah, of course, why not? Well, he doesn't need that, he's fine.
Yeah, it's just going to be a solid list. I just don't know how it's going to play, but that's part of doing it. See what happens.
Yeah, like Dominic is a bit of a saviour for us on this one, so thank you, Dominic, because I think you got 3 individuals here who are not 100% au fait with Stormcast, but basically he's kind of giving some information. Essentially, they can deep strike 9 inches away, the Tempestors, 12 shots in the unit, and the hits explode, the exploding hits. They then do 4 up on 4+ D3 mortal wound shots. Secretors are good into the Karametas. You can't return models within 3 inches of them. So, they have potential. Going also onto like the Lord Arcanum, the notes that we picked up as well. His once per turn, if a model within 18 inches takes a wound and is slain, you can then negate that wound. Instead of a normal route, you can remove him off the board and set him up more than 1 inch from terrain and 9 inches from enemies. Pretty nice. Lord Celestin has a missile attack. You roll a dice on a 4-up, it does D3 mortal wounds. And once per battle, he can give a free all-out attack command. And the Lord Relictor, the one who I totally did not forget, adds +1 to chancing. So, it has opportunity here, definitely. And like you said, if Dan's a good player and everything, he clearly knows what he's doing with this army list. So,
he's a very competent Stormcast player, so I'm sure he'll do well with them.
Absolutely. Dan, good luck. Definitely. Moving on to another Dan, but this one's Daniel. Daniel Arnold, taking the Signs of the Storm again, this time going with Astral Templars, which means he's immune to monstrous rampages. He's got Spellcasting Savant for his grand strategy, and then he's got Call for Aid, as we had before. Leaders on this one is the Lord Castellant as his general with the Master of Magic. We know what that does already, and the Arcane Tome. He also has the Lord Castellant. He has 5 Vanguard Hunters, 5 Vanquishers, 5 Vanquishers, And then 2 sets of 4 Stormdrake Guard, because who doesn't like a little bit of dragon power? In a battle regiment, 1 drop at 1980 with a global BCP ranking of 192. Russell.
First of all, Dan's an incredible player.
Yeah.
Got to the last Masters, I think. Welsh captain, so top player. So if he's written a list, it's good. Storm. I think this list is it's got a lot of potential. It's just dependent on whether the Stormdrake Guard go off or not. Because as we know, they can be swingy. But I think with 2 units of 4, you're going to get at least one of them that pops off at the right time. They're going to. I think. Am I right in saying the Lord Castellan is the one that gives +1 save?
+1 chanting, if I remember. I will double check though if he does. No, that's the Relictor save. Let me have a quick look.
+1 save.
+1 save. Thank you, Jason.
+1 save. So yeah,
one unit holding in 18.
Yeah, so they're going to be very hard to kill. It kind of seems like a theme that's running throughout these lists is things that are very hard to kill. I think again they're going to be really, really hard to kill. Interesting that he's gone with the Astral Templars. I think people were expecting a lot of monsters, and I think it's kind of showing that because there's been quite a few. Stormdrake Guard is just gonna delete things, speed. Yes, a real solid list. Something similar to that I think he ran before, a year or so ago. So yeah, another one to keep an eye on for sure because I think he'll be right up there.
Yeah, exactly. It's scary enough when the Stormdrake Guard meta was out and about and everything. You saw dragons so often, it kind of dipped off for a little bit, and now you can see they potentially have the chance of coming back. I hate seeing them on the board. Not from I don't hate them, but it's the idea that they're just so scary and the potential damage output they have. They certainly haven't lost anything of that caliber since. Your thoughts, Jason?
Pretty much everything that's said. I did this list. I wrote the details on this list there, but the Stormdrake Guard, I just don't know how to take them. They're going to be strong. They're going to be hard to kill, and their output can be incredible. Okay, most things, it can just fall over as well, but that's part of the luck of the dice.
At least they can't be rallied. At least they can't be rallied anymore.
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
The only thing I know, he knows what he's doing. Simple as that. So it's just me thinking about this. Is the Grand Strat of Spellcasting Savant. I find it weird that he's put an Arcane Tome on the hero just to make that Grand Strat, but he knows what he's doing. So he good on him for doing it.
Well, I was thinking, it's going to be rough. You're not going to be able to get to the Castellan with 8 dragons in your face. So, it's going to be a hard one to stop him doing. He just puts it behind terrain, and then the dragons are there in your face. I think it's also really good into Seraphon because the 4-up spell ignore. If you spike a couple of those, you can get right in their face. So yeah, it's going to be. I think it's a really good pick into the meta, and we'll see how it goes. But I think he'll do really well. Another one that could potentially win the whole thing.
Excellent. Well, Daniel, good luck, sir. I hope you do well. Moving on, we then have Darren Watson, who's then once again coming with the Silence of the Storm. He's on the sub-faction of Hammers of Sigmar, so units wholly within 12 inches of objective to get the 6-up ward. Spellcasting Savant for the Grand Strat. His Holy Command is Thunderbolt Volley, so normal shooting in the hero phase, but not from a reinforced unit. Yeah, we've justified that one nowadays. Leaders, he has a Knight Judicator with Gryph-hounds as his general with the Master of Magic and the Arcane Tome. He then has Bastion Carthalos on the board, and then he's allied in Sephiroth, the Lord of the Seven Winds. Battle line wise, 5 Liberators, 5 Judicators with Skybolt Bows, 2 Draconian Concussors. And then he's got 6 Vanguard Raptors with long strike bows, 3 Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbows, Battle Reginum, 1 drop, 1950 with a global BCP ranking of 162. Now, before I come to you, Russ, the one thing I'm noticing is here is between Seraphon and definitely Stormcast, we have a lot of the higher, well-played members of our community pulling these out. Any thoughts on this list? And more importantly, well, not more importantly, but in addition to that?
It's a Darren Watson list, right? It's absolute madness. Really hard to keep up with what he's trying to do. He knows what he's doing, obviously, because what he does. I know for a fact he's got specific plans for this list and how to run it. Sever, I think is a really good pick. He's just going to dart about across the boards, popping little heroes, grabbing different objectives, and then just shooting stuff off. Like there's so much potential there. Just whether or not it's good into the meta, I'm still unsure whether Stormcast got it or not. But Darren really believes it, so I'm with him there. So we'll see.
Yeah. No, it's good. Once again, it's one of these things where we saw lots of strong strike crossbows, and they got a bit of that nerf with the Holy Command ability being changed. But once again, you've seen them coming in, and Darren knows what he's doing. What do you think, Jason?
A lot of shooting. A lot of shooting. I'm be glad for my ritual on turn 1. You can't shoot me out of 12 inches. I'm so glad for that one. Might be cool out just because I love him. I wouldn't say he's the best model on the wall, but I love him. Is Bastian Karthos. I don't know why I like him. I just love the model. I love his abilities. The fact of if he kills something, he heals fully every turn, and it's just
another one of those
really
Trek style models.
Yeah,
really hard to kill.
Yeah. First time I fought him, he was bunged up with 20 Mortec and just sat there. He killed some of me, I hurt him, he healed up, I came back, and that was the entire battle. They just stopped each other dead. It was terrible, but also hilarious.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Like you said,
like this list.
There's a lot of shooting in there, and Sephiroth also being thrown in there. It's like, why not have more shooting? When you have shooting, why not have a little bit more, particularly from an elf?
I think as Charlie's pointed out, Darren's undefeated at LGT. Twice champion. Wow. Yeah, I think he's 15-0. He's won it twice. Came second the other time on points. So he knows what he's doing at LGT. And again, he's a sneaky pick. I know he wants that golden ticket. So he's there to win it.
Oh, well, Darren, best of luck to you, sir, on this one. It looks like a really good list there and a lot of capability thrown into that. So, we hope you do well and you do get a golden ticket, because Christ, we're not going to get it. But
no, especially if we're playing 5 Seraphon armies.
That's right. What's that? You have to disappear. Okay, we'll move on then. Davey Sabo. He's been Scions of the Storm with the Hammers of Sigmar, Spellcasting Savant. He's gone with the Holy Command of Steadfast March, which means one unit gets to run and charge. Triumph of Bloodthirsty. He's got Lord Arcanum and Griff Charger with the Master of Magic. He's gone with the Artifact of Mirror Shield, which means he cannot be targeted by shooting attacks outside of 9 inches. He's got the Celestial Instincts mount trait, which we've already covered, which essentially you can retreat or shoot or retreat and charge. And he's got Horfus on that Lord Arcanum. He's got Celestin Prime coming in at 330 points. 3 sets of Dracothian Guard Tempestors. He's got then 2 sets of Evocators of Celestial Dracolines. And then 2 sets of Vanguard Paladors. All of which have been crammed into 2 Battle Wedges. 2-drop, 1990. Couldn't find a BCP ranking for him. But a little bit of a change to what we've seen. Any thoughts on that one, Thus?
I quite like it. I think it's more of a avoid combat, jump around the board type list. Score points, take things, run away. I think it would really work well into the meta, particularly stuff that want to be fighting you. And so yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes. Dom's already said Tempestors are great. So is he Scions? Yep, Scions. So yeah. I assume they'll be off the board, pop down, delete stuff, while his Paladors are jumping around, scoring points. So. Yeah, I think it's got a good chance of doing well. He's got all the tools there to do it. Just again, not sure with Stormcast, but I'm sure we'll find out.
No, before I go to Jason, just a couple of rules on this one for you viewers and everything. The Evocators, they can reroll charges, and they also have a spell which is casting value of 2 and 12-inch range, which essentially gives them a +1 to wound. Or the unit they select on, get a +1 to wound. Tempestors, they have missile attack, they roll dice, and on throw up, they suffer the D3 water wounds, which we've already covered. Celestin Prime can set up in reserve, and if they stay in until turn 2, for the rest of the battle, they actually gain +2 attacks. And also, once per turn, they can choose a result on their hit, wound, or save or charge roll. So they can choose that once per turn. And the Paladors, instead of a normal move, you can remove them from the board and then reset them up with the normal 9-inch ball restriction. Jason, thoughts?
Like Ross says, they're just going to disappear and just appear where they want to. You start moving one way, they'll just disappear the other side of the board again. You need to somehow get the mobility to get into them to even, I want to say bog them down, but even then they'll still just disappear anyway. I think it'll be an interesting list to play. I think it's going to be it's just going to be different. It's not the cause I'm used to fighting Annihilators and things in Stormcast.
Yeah,
it's really like all the Stormcasts we've seen so far are very different as well, which is good to see.
Yeah,
like there's nothing the same.
Yeah.
They're all very different.
Yeah.
So you can't, as a player, just go, "Oh, I'm playing Stormcast. This is what they're going to do." Well, actually, I'm playing Stormcast. What the hell are they going to do? And there's 7 different lists.
You're right, and this is a nice thing. At the moment, we're still in that list checking stage for a potential meta list of Stormcast. In the shout outs and everything, we've got someone saying he's lucky they banned the Khorne Dragon, to which then Colonel Cabbage has come back saying, Russell, is the Khorne Dragon banned? I assumed it's been made legend. Is that right?
Yeah, it was in the last GHB when it came out,
it was
or the
legend,
time before. Yeah, it's not match play legal anymore.
No. So
I don't think it was Legend did it. They removed the Monstrous Arcanum as a legal.
That's what they did, yeah, because they screwed over my Colossal Cave Scream. Yeah, not that I'm bitter about that. Yes, so there's your answer, Mr. Cabbage. So it has been removed. Mumble, grumble, mumble, grumble. Yeah, Davino, we hope you do well. Sounds like another great list, and it'll be interesting to see on how it goes. Oh no, guys! Shall we move on from this one? It's Dominic Stonebridge. He's got too many words in the chat already. I think we don't need to talk about it. But
what's he saying now?
What is he saying now? He's not saying anything. No, that's not yet. Give him a chance. The stream's got to catch up with him. Okay, so he's taking Silence of the Storm with the Hammers of Sigmar and Spellcasting Savant. He's got 2 holy commands. He has Call for Aid, and he has a Thunderbolt Volley. In his leader slot, he has the Knight Incantor as his general with the command trait of Eater of Magic, which essentially means that he gets to attempt to unbind the spell, and if he does successfully, on a 5-up, the caster no longer knows the spell. Fantastic. He also has the spell Celestial Blaze, which is the casting value of 5, 18-inch range, and it's a +1 for melee attacks, +1 to wound on melee attacks. He then has Lord Imperatant and 2 Knight Zephyros, one of them with the Lux Stone, which is the changing of the dice roll once per battle. He has 5 Vindictors, 2 sets of Dracothian Guard Fulminators, 2 sets of Annihilators with Meteoric Grandhammers, 6 Quester Soulsworn, and a set of Vanguard Raptors with Long Strike Crossbows. Core battalion wise, he comes in with a Command Entourage, Wizard Finders of Antor, Redemption Brotherhood, and then he's also brought the Everblaze Comet as an endless spell. 7-drop, 2k on the nose, with a BCP ranking of 145. And he hasn't said anything yet, although we have had one shout out saying Dom the Babe. Russ, what do you want to say?
I'm sure we all know, Dom's literally the nicest man in Warhammer. Like, you'll never meet a nicer person.
Yeah.
I would usually at this point be saying I expect him to win the event or be right up there, but he didn't take my advice and he's bought stupid Stormcast, so I'm not going to praise him. The list is absolutely awful.
Just tut at him. Every time you walk past him, just tut and shake your head.
Yeah. Seriously though, I do think it has got a lot of potential. The Annihilators getting their points dropped was nice, but again, I'm just unsure on them. I know the Quest of Soulsworn are really good though, so be careful about them. But if Dom's running it, then you know there's some potential. He's got some things in his mind that are a bit out there that he's going to do.
Yeah.
Excited to see him on the table. I'm sure he'll do really well with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you just said, the Quest of Swarm, instead of a normal move, they can reset up, 9 inches away from enemies. But more so, each model in that unit counts as 3 for contesting objectives. So they have options there. Jason, your thoughts?
Like I said, Annihilators. I love the models. They're powerful, but also they tend to die quite easily for being such a beefy model. But and then I had to look up the quest to Soulspawn. Exactly that. They disappear. They set up somewhere else on the board, and the whole unit counts as 18 models on an objective. They're just darting around capturing everything.
Yeah.
The rest of it, it's they all do their roles, free commands, auto unbinds. It's all there basically.
Yeah.
Just
the other thing to consider on this one, when those Annihilators come in, if they come in, is it when they come into reserve rule? Basically, when they get set up, each enemy unit within 10 inches, on a 3-up, they suffer D3 mortal wounds. So that's a nice level of chip damage on that one. And Vanguard Raptors that he's got in there as well. Instead of a normal move, you can remove them and set them up. Once again, a lot of movement shenanigans with this list, without a shadow of a doubt, and a lot of versatility of getting around that board. But yeah, people calling out. Dom said there, "Love you too, Russ, babe." So we'll go on that front. But overall, all good. So good luck, Dom. I hope you do well.
Dom's got something in the chat right now talking about his list.
Oh, okay. Well, before we move on, it's a bit of a toolbox.
Damage in every phase. So, hero movement, shooting, charge, melee, and lots of movement stuff for BTS and objective grabbing. Yeah.
Sorry, Russ.
It's just a shame every other army's going to table it.
when we see Dominic
knocking his models over, just taking the model off every time you walk past.
Every time, if we see Dominic in the lower tables, we'll console him and tell him that everything's okay. He tried his best, but I don't think he'll be done. I'm sure he'll play well. Good luck, Dominic. Good luck. So we're now moving on to Ian Hodgson King, another one that we know relatively has been around a lot. Oh, yeah, here we go. Sons of the Storm and Hammers of Sigmar with Spellcasting Savant. He's gone with the Holy Commander Steadfast March, and when you gets to run and charge. He's gone with a Knight Vexilla with the Pennant of the Stormbringer. I assume that's not the artifact. I only find out what that is in a second. Lord Arcanum with the Griff Charger, with the Master of Magic Mirror Shield, so he can't be shot outside of 9 inches. He's got a mount trait of Scintillating Trail, which is that on our notes there? I can't see it. Jason, could you just have a look for that one in the meantime? And then he's got the spell Thundershock, which is casting value of 6, range of 12 inches, 18 inches for the Lord. And the effect, every enemy unit within range, you roll dice on a 3-up, it's a -1 to wound. For them. He then has
in the description.
It's what, sorry?
It's -1 to unbind for any spells cast by Stormcast Eternal Wizards who are wholly within 12 inches. So it's -1 to unbind. The way I read that is the Stormcast Wizard has to be within 12. So even if I'm 25 inches away, it's still -1 to unbind for it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's really nice. I like it.
Battle line, 2 units of reinforced fulminators, a unit of secretors, and then he's brought in Gotrek as an ally, Acer Wings, and the Farstriders. Now, he's gone with 2 Vanguard battalions on this one. Coming in with 8 drop, a 2000 on the nose. He's got a BCP ranking of 2338. Another change in the lists here. What are your thoughts then, Bus?
It's got Gotrek again. I'm blaming Darren for this because he bought Gotrek back and now everyone's using him. We've got rid of the little ginger idiot, but now he's back. I think it's got the potential again. It's kind of more of a smash style list with formulators Gotrek. So I think we'll see him be more aggressive. Is it? Yes, Ian. So this is playing Dom round 1 because they've grudged each other.
Okay.
They actually have.
Fair enough. Okay.
So this and Dom are facing off round 1, so it'd be interesting to see who comes out on top there. I think Gottrek's really good into Dom's list. I think Dom might struggle a little with Gottrek.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But yeah, there's not really, again, too much I can say. It's slightly different from all the others, which is really good to see that there's so many different Stormcast lists. I think this one's a little bit more aggressive than the others. You'll see a lot more combat rather than sort of staying back. Nice little bit of movement with the fast riders as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Those reinforced formulators also doing a lot of work. Jason, your thoughts?
Exactly what everyone's been saying. I like it. It's a combat-y based army. I love that mount trait. I think that's a really nice mount trait. And well, you saw in the notes, Gotrek.
Yeah,
it's Gotrek.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Just but no, I love it. I do like this army.
Yeah, it should be a good one, and like I said, it has opportunity for the combat side of things on this, and also with the Aether Wings in there and the Fast Riders, giving him some movement shenanigans as well. Not shenanigans, sorry, but capability. Yeah, getting those battle tactics, potentially the 6 inches on the board edges, etc. It's a good option. So, Ian, once again, sir, good luck. We now come to the final Stormcast list with Pell Percy. He's gone Signs of the Storm, Subfaction Knights Excelsior, chucking it up a little bit on that one. He's gone with the grand strategy of...
Go to the notes. It was too long to put in the top of the board.
You put it in... Okay, so once per turn at the start of the combat phase, you can pick one friendly Knights Excelsior Paladin unit on the battlefield. Until the end of that phase, when you pick that unit to fight, pick one enemy unit within 1 inch of that unit. If the number of models in that enemy unit is greater than the number of models in your Paladin unit, add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made by that Paladin unit, but target the enemy until the end of that phase. Okay.
Are Annihilators Paladins?
It says Knights Excelsior Paladin unit, so that's curious.
Are Annihilators Paladins?
Give me 2 seconds.
Jason will just have a check on that one. In the meantime, whilst we're waiting on that one, Overshadow, kill all enemy battleline, keep one of yours alive. He then has Call for Aid and Thunderbolt Volley. It is it?
Yeah. Paladins are Annihilators, Decimators, Protectors, Retributors.
Okay. He then has Lord Imperatant as his general with the command trait of Shock and Awe, which is a -1 on units set up at the end of your movement phase, a -1 to hit for the units you set up at the end of your movement phase for that turn. He has the artifact of the Arcane Tome, artifact of power. He has a Knight Incantor with the Merciless Blizzard, Knight Vexillor with the Banner of Apotheosis, and Indrasta. Nice. Okay. Battle line, he's got Annihilators, a unit of Vindictors, another unit of Annihilators with Meteoric Grandhammers. He then also has opted to go with the Fast Riders, a unit of Vanguard Raptors with Long Strike Crossbows, and then 2 Storm Strikes Chariots. Core battalion-wise, he's gone with a Warlord and a Vanguard, and then he's opted to have the Quicksilver Swords as an end of spell. 11 drop, 2,000 points, 6141. So he's been around a little bit. This is a different one. Your thoughts there, Bus?
I think a lot of it's going to be put on the Annihilator shoulders, right? So I think they're his unit. I think that they're going to be doing the heavy lifting. I think, strangely enough, Indrastra might have been a good pick because we've seen quite a few monsters, and I think she's the one that does.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's good against monsters, and surprisingly, we've had quite a few so far. I know Dom used to rate Stormcast Chariots. I don't know if he still does. It's an interesting one. Again, completely different from what we've seen. I don't know. Again, I'm really stumped by all these Stormcast lists. They're all very different, and it's good to see.
It is good to see, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. With Indrasta, if she's within 3 inches of a monster, she adds 10 wounds when they're looking at the table, the damage table, and the bracketing. Once per turn, she can return a slain model with 3 wounds or less to a unit wholly within 12 inches of herself. And there's no battle shock test as well within 12 inches of Indrasta as well. So that's quite good. And that Annihilators with Meteoric Grandhammers have been reinforced. So you've got 6 of them in there on that front. So, there's a lot of sway in this list. Jason, your thoughts?
6 Annihilators is just going to be hard to kill because they are 3 wounds. Technically, once per turn, a model can be brought back to them, so hard to kill, and then they're going to be brought back again.
Yeah.
Bit of shooting. I don't know much about the chariots. When I looked at them, there was nothing too crazy about them, but then 150 points, what do you expect? They still look powerful enough.
Wounds and a 3-up save, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I do like the list again. There's enough junk in there to actually make it a bit of fun, as well as actually be powerful.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Just to throw it in as well, Lord Imperator, once per turn, 3 command point. And the Knight Cantor.
Brings down the Grand Hammers.
Sorry?
Is it he's the one that brings down the Grand, can bring down the Grand Hammers closer. So
that's right, yeah. Knight Cantor, once per battle, has an auto unbind. Knight Vexillor with the banner, once per battle, you can pick up to 3 friendly units and heal D3 per unit. So, there's lots of little bits and rules in there and everything that, that can do it. So, it looks like a good list. Pell, I hope you do well, sir. And with that, that's our last Stormcast. We've got 2 more lists before we take a break. We're now going to go on to Sylvaneth. And with this, we have Jay Hine bringing in Null Root. So Null Root is once per turn, you can roll 3d6 for Castle Unbind and select 2 dice if wholly within 9 inches of an overgrown or awakened wildwood. He's gone with Spellcasting Savant, Grand Strategy, and then he's gone with the Dwindling Seasonal War, which I did write down, but I can't see it on my notes, so I'll find it in a second. In the meantime, though, he's got Branch Witch, with Hoarfrost and Verdant Blessing. Verdant Blessing is casting value of 6 and an 18-inch range, and essentially gets to set up an Awakened Wildwood terrain piece. He then has the Warsong Revenant as his general, with the command trait of Spellsinger, which means that when this general attempts to cast a spell before making a cast roll, you can pick 1 friendly Awakened Wildwood on the battlefield. If you do so and it's cast, the range, visibility, and effect is measured from that scenery piece. Note, spells that summon endless spells do not benefit from that effect, though. He has a Vespral Gem, though, which allows him to auto-cast a Sylvaneth spell once per turn, which cannot be unbound. And he then has a Verdant Blessing again, and Verdurous Harmony, which is casting value of 7, 18-inch range, pick a friendly unit, and you get to return a slain model. If it turns out to be Dryads, Tree Revs, or Spite Revs, though, you get to return D3 models. In this, though, he's got 2 units of Dryads, 1 unit of Tree Revenants, a unit of Reinforced Spider Rider Lancers, a reinforced unit of Gossamer Archers, and a reinforced unit of Colonel Hunters with Colonel's Greatswords. Core Battalion with Battle Regiment, bring it all in with a 2-drop. Oh, and he also got Spite Swarm Hive. 2-drop, 2,000 points at 1520. Change from the Stormcast, Russell. What's your thoughts?
I think it's a good list. Again, just like Lumin, I think Charlie said earlier, Sylvaneth have got high potential but a high floor. So people need to play them a lot to get the most out of them. Yeah. Really like the idea of the Lancers going to be popping about with the use of the Hive to get the charges, do the damage, and then sod off again. The Vespral Gem and Spellsingers, classic combination. You pop the tree down, but then bomb out his mortal wound to everyone in that area spell. It's just a real solid Sylvaneth list. Great Bow's going to be picking people off with from range, which is always a nice tool to have. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a good Sylvaneth list. I think it'll do well. Yeah, absolutely. Before I go to Jason, just a couple of points on this one with the Gossamer Archers. If you're unsure about this videos, if they unleash hell on a 2-up, they can retreat. They also have a modified hit roll of 6 with a bow does D3 mortal wounds. As opposed to the standard damage output. The Spider Rider Lancers, with their Standard Bearer, you think Standard Bearers are kind of just standard bearers. But they allow a 6-inch pilot if you have a Standard Bearer in their group. Musician allows them to rally on a 5-up. They get to strike first if they charge. And at the end of each phase, if they slay any models, they can heal all wounds allocated to that unit. Note, they can't bring back models, but they can heal the wounds. Jason, what are your thoughts?
I've only fought Sylvaneth once, and they destroyed my Idoneth because they got them double turned me, mortal wound bombed right into the middle of my army, 2 turns running. It evaporated half of my army. The Leviathan went basically near enough. All my heroes went. It just was just done. So, but no, I like the list. I think it's got a lot of potential in there. I think there's a lot of bringing back slain models or healing up, and you're just going to struggle to get through some of these things. Carnif Hunters I've fought a few times, and just they do go down, but they take a certain amount, a good amount of force to knock them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, I like it. I can see it doing well enough anyway. I think.
Yeah, it's a step away from essentially a tree lord list. And he's like Russ just said, Warsong with his general standard build as you would expect, and the spell routine on that one will do what it does, the Warsong bomb. But with Spiral of Lancers out there, the Gossamer Archers, they've got movement capability outside of the actual using the terrain features to move around, and the Carnif Hunters aren't to snub against either. Yeah, they got the great swords, so they can do damage. Like at the moment, when they contest objectives, friendly units wholly within 6 inches are treated as being within 6 inches of an overgrown feature, so that's great for them. Their swords do 2 mortal wounds if the hit roll is 6. And then they on the 4 up at the end of the combat phase, they do mortal wounds with their trample to each model, for each model in their unit. So it has potential. It does, but like you said, Russell, Sylvaneth is a high skill floor. Capability to play it well. You either do really well or you will struggle. But yeah, so Jay, good luck, sir. We now come to our last list of the orders, and we are Tom Cannell. He is going with a subfaction of Winterleaf, which means enemy units within 3 inches of the Sylvaneth can't retreat. And then if he chose Everdusk as his Season of War, this units within 3 inches are unable to be removed from the board with other abilities. Grand strategy spellcasting savant. Now, unfortunately, Tom, if you are watching and everything, you didn't choose your Season of War. You just
He did. It's updated now.
Oh, what's he going with?
I can't remember off the top of my head. It's on BCP.
Oh no, cool.
I'll find it.
Okay, cheers, Jason. Thank you for that, Russ. So leaders-wise then, he's gone with the Branch Witch as his general with the Spell Singer command trait, which means exactly what we said before, they can bring, you can do it through the Awakened Wildwood, blah, 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 blah. His artifact is a Seed of Rebirth, which was an odd one, because he opted this one, and this is one of the universal ones, which means he gets to re-roll heroic recovery rolls. Fair enough. He's then chosen the Spell Dwellers Below, which is a casting value of 7, 12-inch range. Pick an enemy unit and roll dice number to the squad size. On a 5-up, they take mortal wounds. He's then got the Lady of Vines in here as well, with Regrowth as a spell casting value of 5 in an 18-inch range. Essentially, it's a healing for a friendly unit of D6 wounds. And then he's got Alario in, and Alario we know is quite a power piece for Sylvaneth. Battle line wise, 10 Dryads, 5 Tree Revs, and then 2 Tree Lords. He's gone into a Battle Reg with a Spike Swarm Hive, and he was a 2-drop, but unfortunately we picked up that he couldn't have the Lady of Vines in the Battle Reg. So I assume that makes him a 3-drop at 2k points. Yeah, your thoughts, Russ?
Yeah, again, real solid list. It'd be interesting to see what the Lady of the Vines does. You don't see her too often. But I think Alario is a great pick. So much utility. Really good in combat. Decent shooting. Great magic. And can bring on, I assume he'll bring on 3 Carnif Hunters.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah. And then double Tree Lord. Tree Lords are great, particularly their fight last. And then the fact that you can't stand next to trees to block them off. So they'll just be jumping around the board, doing what they do. And I think this list has got some real potential. It'd be interesting to see how Tom does with it.
Yeah, absolutely. For the viewers, a couple of rules and everything. Lady of Vines has the ability to summon in 10 Dryads herself. She has the Verdian Crown, which means friendly units wholly within 6 inches of the Lady of Vines are treating as being within 6 inches of the Awakened Wildwood. So it's got great potential there. Then she has Rising Vines, which at the start of the combat phase, if she's within 3 inches of enemy units, she can choose to protect or ensnare. Protect is a -1 tier against her, ensnare +1 tier against the enemies. Like you just said as well, Alarielle has her own kind of subsection on this one. Once per battle, she can make all terrain counters over grey. Amazing. And also Life Bloom, essentially, as we all know, with Alarielle, she can heal 2d6 on this one. And if she is destroyed, you roll a dice and add a battle round roll to it, and on a 6-up, she comes back. So, pretty nice. Jason, your thoughts?
Just before I do that, the season they chose was the Dwindling, like the other one, which is, in your hero phase, you can re-roll 1 casting, 1 unbinding, and 1 dispelling roll, as long as it's a Sylvaneth wizard and within 9 inches of an overgrown terrain feature or friendly Awakened Wildwood.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that.
So there's a bit of re-roll in it. Yeah, once again, I've fought Alarielle. She's just annoying to kill. She's not unkillable, but she's still just annoying to kill, and she's really a nice model and hard. Hits quite hard.
Yeah.
The rest of the army, the Tree Lords are big. You know how strong they are. Battle line, it's kind of basic battle line, but then you've got so much stuff. The other stuff, it's more just to ping them around and do what you need to do with them. I think it could be good. I don't know. I don't know much about Sylvaneth. They've killed me so much that I want to say it. I feel like I could defeat this, but then also they can just take me off the board as well. So I don't know which way to go on this one.
No, absolutely. It's a really well-rounded list on this one. And like people were saying in the chat and everything, the Lady of Vines will also pump out a 5-up or a 5+ ward. And also this list, if she wanted to with Alarielle and Lady of Vines, they could bring in 30 Dryads. Not I would potentially do that myself, but the option is there to bring out some more models if you needed it. Tom, though, good luck, sir, with that. We hope you do well. And with that, guys, that's the end of the order lists. Russ, thank you so much for being part of the of this list discussion.